Chapter 133. Void Ocean, Captivity Island. The roars of sea beasts could be heard. The entire island was surrounded by huge sea beasts of different colors. Meanwhile, in the stone castle of Captivity Island, the Sea King was looking at the murals on the walls of the castle with a solemn expression. He was sure that the signal came from here. However, he could not find the creature that sent the signal even after searching the entire island. What surprised him even more was that the murals recorded the past of the Mu-Te Sea Nation, the pinnacle civilization of the Void Ocean. The Sea King scanned through the murals and finally fixed his gaze on the blurry figure that he was kneeling in worship. Mu Zhiguang. As the heir to the throne of the Mu-Te Sea Nation, how could he not be familiar with the savior of the Mu-Te Sea Nation? In the end, he was the one who personally handed over the throne to him. However, he did not do it willingly. It was the will of the people of the Mu-Te Sea Nation. He had no choice but to do it. It was also because of this that he chose to betray the Mu-Te Sea Nation and build his own new force around the Void Ocean. After the Mu-Te Sea Nation was destroyed, he quickly rose to power and became the current Sea King. The murals once again evoked the Sea King's memories. However, there was one thing that puzzled him. This was the unique communication method of the Mu-Te Sea Nation. If one was not a descendant of the Mu-Te Sea Nation, he would not be able to use it. Logically speaking, other than Mu Zhiguang, the descendants of the Mu-Te Sea Nation should have turned into ghouls. Why did they appear again? Mu Zhiguang is back? The Sea King's expression froze. He could not help but tremble at this speculation. He knew how powerful the person who controlled death was. His power was close to that of a god. When he went completely crazy, he could even be compared to a god. Other than the Void Guardian spirit Chi-Chi that slept at the bottom of the sea all year round and did not care about worldly affairs, no one in the entire Void Ocean could control him. However, the Sea King immediately felt that this speculation was ridiculous. In order to avenge his clansmen, that person had entered the deep sea alone and fought against the Death Clan alone. He should have died long ago. How could he have come back? The Sea King took a deep breath to calm himself down. Then, he turned around and left. However, the Sea King had his considerations for this expedition because he could not be careless about the matter of the Mu-Te Sea Nation. However, since the investigation was fruitless, he could not come in vain. After leaping onto the giant whale, he shouted, "Liuli Coast, collect the debt!" After that, the huge army of sea monsters turned around and headed toward the Liuli Coast. They were going to look for Cha-Na and demand their souls back. Liuli Coast. Under the dazzling sun, the sea breeze caressed his face, and the sound of waves hitting the beach and the cries of seagulls intertwined, filling everything in front of him with a sense of tranquil beauty. Many casual players even set up umbrellas, basking in the sun and drinking freshly squeezed fruit juices, enjoying the wonderful holiday life. At this moment, a huge wave suddenly rose from the sea in the distance, and it kept rising as it moved towards the shore. The silhouettes of countless sea beasts could be vaguely seen amidst the huge waves. The Sea King's army was approaching aggressively. The players on the coast were shocked when they saw this scene. However, the players had experienced being invaded before, so they were very efficient in summoning manpower this time. Some immediately went to the forum, some went to the livestream with many viewers, and some started shouting in the regional channel. Very quickly, a large number of players found out about the invasion of the Liuli Coast. For a time, the various large guilds began to gather their manpower, forming teams and swarming towards the Liuli Coast. At the same time, Lu Wu and Bailey, who had already noticed the Sea King's invasion, shifted their attention to the Liuli Coast. Cha-Na! The Sea King let out a deafening roar as he approached the Liuli Coast. This group attack without any blind spots caused the players on the coast to lose HP, and red words appeared above their heads. The players, who were already familiar with the Sea King's loud voice, immediately retreated and waited for the arrival of backup. The Sea King's roar was heard again. As he approached the Liuli coast, the Sea King was a little confused. He had already roared 3 times, but why was Cha Na not coming out yet? Was he hiding? The confused Sea King immediately leaped from the back of the giant whale and dashed towards Cha Na's mansion. However, when he arrived at Cha Na's Ghost King Palace, the Sea King was stunned. This was because there was a wooden sculpture standing in front of Cha Na's Ghost King Palace. The sculpture was of Cha Na lying on the ground and licking a pile of poop. Most importantly, the expression on the wooden sculpture of Cha Na was brimming with happiness. The Sea King was dumbfounded. He had no idea what was going on. Did Cha Na have such a hobby? Just as the Sea King was puzzled, a large number of people appeared in the surroundings. All of them were holding weapons and approaching. "Where's Cha Na?" the Sea King frowned. "He's dead." Wu Guori, who was the leader, answered decisively. Dead? The Sea King was stunned. After glancing at the wooden sculpture again, he suddenly believed it. "How did he die?" "We beat him to death." "The cruel kind," one of the players at the back said. "Who's in charge of Liuli district now?" "Of course it's us," the players said in unison. The Sea King spread his hands. "I don't care who's in charge of this place. Since Cha Na is dead, then you guys will pay for his debt. The total is 200,000 soul coins. When are you going to pay?" "Are you crazy? 200,000 soul coins? Motherf ****, where's the 2nd Battalion commander? Bring out the Italian cannon, I'm going to blow him up." 200,000 soul coins? This isn't a lion asking for a lion's share, it's a lion's mouth. Where's Tongua? Hurry up and find him. Give him a double-wing rapid slap in the face as a warning. The players were discussing fervently. The Sea King's expression was getting worse. "So you guys aren't going to pay?" "Of course, but can we pay in installments?" Wu Guoi took a step forward and said with a smile. "Installments?" The Sea King was stunned. It was the first time he had heard of this term. "How are we going to pay in installments?" "We'll give you 1 soul coin a year. If it's 200,000, you'll be able to pay it off in 200,000 years." The players burst into laughter when they heard Wu Gui's words. The Sea King's face turned pale. "So you guys want to be my enemy?" The Sea King's lips curled into a sinister smile. The players heard him and held their weapons tightly, ready for the upcoming battle. Just as the battle was about to break out, a figure squeezed through the crowd. He first looked at Cha Na's sculpture and was stunned for a few seconds. Then, he looked at the Sea King. "Yo, Lord Sea King, what brings you to Liuli Coast?" It was Tongua. He had been digitized and knew that he had an immortal body. Therefore, he greeted the Sea King calmly. "Tongua?" The contempt on the Sea King's face disappeared. He had heard of Tonggua's reputation. He was the strongest ghost king in the land of Beiki after the king of Beiki. His strength was not to be underestimated and was not much weaker than his own. He could easily bully the ghost General Cha Na and the Sea King. However, if it was Tonggua, he would have to consider his losses. "Lord Sea King, why are you here as a guest? Do you miss our king of Beiki?" Tonggua walked in front of the players. The Sea King's face darkened when he heard Tonggua mention the king of Beiki. After all, it was no secret that he had been bullied by the king of Beiki. "Tonggua, what do you mean?" "Nothing much. To tell you the truth, I've always found Cha Na an eyesore. A few days ago, I killed him along the way. Now, the entire Liuli district belongs to me. Sea King, you don't mind, do you?" "It belongs to you?" The Sea King was shocked and suddenly realized that if it was Tonggua, he would be able to kill Cha Na easily. "That's right, it's already my territory. Lord Sea King, don't tell me you want me to collect Een souls?" The Sea King's face showed a hint of hesitation when he heard the news. Although he was confident that he could defeat Tonggua, both of their strengths were almost at the peak of the Ghost King realm. Even if he won, he would have to pay a heavy price. However, he felt embarrassed if he left just like that. Lu Wu and Bailey, who were watching the scene, were worried for Tong Gua, who was acting tough. They were afraid that he would be exposed. Chapter 134. Facing Tong Gua, who claimed to have occupied the Liuli coast, the Sea King was in a dilemma. Collecting protection fees had always been done by the stronger party from the weaker party. However, if the two parties were equally powerful, it would be a little difficult. All right, since you've occupied the Liuli coast, I'll do you a favor. I don't want this nether spirit. Hearing this, Tong Gua smiled and was about to say something, but the Sea King's face showed a hint of anticipation. Tong Gua, I heard that you're the incarnation of the Baki guardian spirit. I've always wanted to know how strong you are. Since I'm here today, why don't we have a match? Hearing this, the smile on Tong Gua's face instantly froze. Forget about it. I'm a lazy person and I don't like to spar. How can I forget about it? I haven't had an evenly matched opponent for a long time. Since I've met you, I naturally want to spar with you. The Sea King pointed in the direction of the Liuli coast as he spoke. Why don't we choose the coast? This is your territory after all. It's not convenient to fight here. At this moment, Tong Gua was cursing in his heart. However, if he did not fight, it would definitely arouse the Sea King's suspicion. He could only cough twice. Lord Sea King, to tell you the truth, I've been consolidating my cultivation and working hard to break through to the Ghost Emperor realm. It's better not to use force at this stage. Ghost Emperor? The Sea King was surprised when he heard this. The Ghost Emperor realm could only be reached by the powerhouses of the Lord Prefect level. However, he did not doubt Tong Gua's words. After all, Tong Gua had been at the peak of the Ghost King realm for many years. He had always heard that Tong Gua was half a step into the Ghost Emperor realm. Alright, then I'll come again next time. Facing Tong Gua, who was half a step into the Ghost Emperor realm, the Sea King appeared very serious. Next time, Tong Gua replied calmly. This time, the Sea King did not want to continue the challenge. He stomped his right foot on the ground and suddenly shot into the sky. Boom! Ouch! The Sea King's foot created a pit on the ground. Tong Gua, who was standing at the side, lost his balance and fell to the ground with a thud. The depressed Tong Gua immediately flapped his wings and stood up, but a drop of sweat rolled down his forehead as he found the Sea King floating in the sky and looking at him in confusion. When the surrounding players saw this, they couldn't help but facepalm. They had almost succeeded in showing off, but why didn't they stand firm in the end? Looking at the Sea King, Tong Gua was silent for 2 seconds. Why hasn't the Sea King left yet? Didn't I say that this spar will be rescheduled for another time? This time, the Sea King did not speak. He lifted his right foot and stomped in the air. Suddenly, a sonic boom sounded in the air, and a huge airflow swept down from the sky. The players below collapsed under the impact of the violent airflow. Among them, Tong Gua fell flat on his face. Tong Gua, your cultivation is gone? Seeing this, the Ocean King had already guessed what had happened. Tong Gua stood up awkwardly. How could it be gone? You're a guest from afar. Would you believe me if I told you that I fell because I wanted to cooperate with you? Tong Gua's explanation caused the surrounding players to facepalm once again. Did Big Goose think that the Sea King was a fool? The Sea King had a strange expression on his face. In order to prove it, he reached out his hand and grabbed Tong Gua. A huge suction force came, and Tong Gua could not resist it at all and was sucked into the sky. You've really lost your cultivation. Tong Gua, I can't believe you've ended up like this. Tong Gua's heart trembled, but he still muttered stubbornly, I really didn't lose my cultivation. Tong Gua, the underworld is a world where the strong prey on the weak. Since you've lost your cultivation, you're a great tonic. Don't blame me for this. The Sea King's face was filled with surprise. Are you going to eat me? Tong Gua was terrified. So what if I eat you? Since you've lost your cultivation, your spiritual flesh will be the best help for me to advance to the Ghost Emperor. Why can't I eat you? The Sea King grabbed Tong Gua, who was floating in the air, as he spoke. Then, the Sea King's figure quickly swept toward the coast, and a few drops of Tong Gua's sorrowful tears fell in the air. The players below were speechless. It seems like the crisis has been resolved? It seems so. Then we're done here, right? Let's disperse, everyone. Do whatever you need to do. After that, the players gradually dispersed. As for what would happen to Tong Gua, they were not worried at all. In fact, they were secretly delighted. After all, this unscrupulous NPC had been deceiving them all day long. They had long been unhappy with him. On the coast, the sea beasts roared in unison when they saw the Sea King's arrival, welcoming their king. After leaping onto the back of the giant whale, the Sea King put down Tong Gua in his hand, but his eyes were still filled with surprise when he looked at him. Although Tong Gua had lost his cultivation, to the Sea King, Tong Gua was now more precious than millions or even tens of millions of Een souls. He was the best tonic. Tong Gua's face was full of sorrow, and his eyes were filled with resentment as he looked at the Sea King. Lord Sea King, we're old friends. It's immoral of you to do this. Immoral? Don't you understand the law of the jungle, Tong Gua? The Sea King shook his head helplessly. He suddenly felt that Tong Gua was really embarrassing now. He was completely different from how he had imagined the guardian spirit of the land of Baki to be. Then, the Sea King waved his hand, and the seawater on the coast condensed into a huge wave. The entire sea beast army began to retreat from the coast. Many players who came to the coast to watch out of curiosity saw this and happily waved goodbye to Tong Gua, who had gone far away. This made Tong Gua even more resentful. He secretly gritted his teeth. Don't let me go back, or I'll take revenge on you. While Tong Gua was angry, a warm current suddenly appeared in his body. Then, a layer of green energy appeared on the surface of his body and kept staring. Tong Gua's eyes were filled with tears as he felt the surging power again. He could feel that he had reached the power of a half-step ghost emperor. This made Tong Gua's expression gradually change. Then, he turned over and stood up from the back of the giant whale. He looked at the Sea King with a mocking expression. Ocean King, I've treated you with courtesy, but you've been so overbearing. Don't blame me for being merciless this time, the Ocean King said coldly. The Sea King turned his head to look at Tong Gua in confusion. He did not understand why Tong Gua, who was lying on the ground and gritting his teeth, suddenly changed his attitude. Eat my celestial crane kick. At this moment, Tong Gua kicked the Sea King's face hard. Suddenly, the Sea King was kicked away from the back of the giant whale like a cannonball. After coming back to his senses, the Sea King clapped his hands behind him and stabilized his body in the air. However, Tong Gua's arrogant laughter came from behind. Sea King boy, eat my wings and face slapping. The Sea King immediately turned around, roared, and threw a punch. The punch was powerful, but it did not even break the green energy layer on the surface of Tong Gua's body. It only caused some ripples. Tong Gua, who was grinning ferociously, suddenly flapped his wings. Tong Gua's first style, celestial crane wings. Tong Gua's wings instantly turned into thousands of phantoms, slapping the Sea King's face like a spinning wheel. The power was extremely overbearing. The Sea King roared and tried to resist, but the protective sea power that appeared on the surface of his body did not even last for 3 seconds before it broke. Then, his face was hit repeatedly. Roar! At this moment, the Sea King slammed his right arm forward and hit Tong Gua's body again. Although the blow did not cause any damage, the Sea King managed to escape from Tong Gua's thousand wings combo. However, before the Sea King could stabilize his body in the air, Tong Gua flapped his wings and appeared in front of him again. Tong Gua's second style, crazy throw. As he spoke, Tong Gua grabbed the Sea King's arm and threw him over his shoulder. He then flapped his wings and caught up with the Sea King. He grabbed the Sea King's arm again and threw him over his shoulder again. After continuously falling, the Sea King's body turned into a spinning phantom that kept rolling in the air. Tong Gua's third style, Phantom Kick. Relying on his rapid movement, Tong Gua kicked the Sea King back and forth in the air like a ball. At this moment, the Sea King felt bitter in his heart. "Aren't you embarrassed to pretend to be weak? It turns out that he was really trying to save me some face by falling down earlier. Why didn't I cherish it? I regret it so much." The feeling of being beaten reminded him of the King of Baiki, and he felt an inexplicable sourness in his heart. The players who witnessed the scene on the coast were stunned. Some of them immediately opened a live broadcast on the forum and broadcasted the scene. Soon, a large number of onlookers appeared in the live broadcast room, and they were amazed when they saw the scene. "Is Big Goose that awesome? He can actually beat up the Ghost King? This guy bragged to me last time when he was drunk that a guy like the Sea King was no match for him. He even said that he had beaten up all the Ghost Kings of Baiki. It turns out that he wasn't bragging. Big Goose's acting was successful this time. Sure enough, you can't mess with fated guys. Take Yi Chen as a good example." Chapter 135. Tong Gua and the Sea King's silhouettes kept crossing each other in the sky. At this moment, Tong Gua was filled with pride and excitement. At this moment, he felt like he had been reborn. Sure enough, beating people up was fun and exciting. As the one being beaten up, the Sea King felt like his body was about to fall apart. He wanted to fight back several times, but his strength at the peak of the Ghost King realm was not on par with Tong Gua, who was already a half-step Ghost Emperor. He could not withstand Tong Gua's attacks at all. Just as the Sea King was about to use his biggest trump card and summon the Sea Spirit, Tong Gua suddenly stopped attacking. Then, the green energy on the surface of his body converged into his body. He sat cross-legged in the air, closed his eyes, and slowly descended. Tong Gua's strongest move returned to simplicity. As his body descended, a drop of sweat rolled down Tong Gua's forehead, and his heart was pounding. Hearing that it was his strongest move, the Sea King, who was about to use his ultimate move, was horrified. He took this opportunity to dash toward the horizon. "Sea King Navy! Retreat!" At this moment, Tong Gua secretly opened one of his eyes. Seeing that the Sea King was indeed scared away, Tong Gua's arrogance was ignited again. "Don't run, Sea King. Wait until I gather my strength and prepare for my strongest move." Upon hearing this, the Sea King did not even look back. He increased his flying speed again and quickly disappeared into the horizon. When the members of the Sea King Navy below saw their king running away, they were scared out of their wits. They desperately drove the sea beasts and chased after the Sea King. Splash! Gulp! At this moment, Tong Gua fell into the water. His body sank slowly, and a string of bubbles appeared on the surface. The players were speechless. After a while, Tong Gua's head emerged from the water, and his wings flapped wildly on the surface. "Save me! This king doesn't know how to swim. Someone, save this king!" Looking at Tong Gua, who was frantically flapping on the surface of the sea, the players who were watching the live broadcast covered their faces and had the same thought. How shameful! When the players on the shore saw this, they were speechless. After looking at each other, they dispersed, leaving Tong Gua flailing in the sunset. Lu Wu and Bailey were speechless when the crisis of the Sea King's attack was resolved just like that. However, they had a deep understanding of Tong Gua's ability to show off. At the same time, they were glad for it. Otherwise, it would be too early for the players to fight against the Sea King with their current strength. However, the appearance of the Sea King gave the players a stronger sense of crisis. The topic of how to rapidly develop the power of the ocean was once again discussed in the forum. At the same time, after this battle, a pro player with a lot of fans on the forum proposed the first rule in the game. The law of acting pretentiously. In this post, the professional player used Yi Chen and Tong Gua as examples to conduct an objective analysis and finally came to a conclusion. Following fate equals showing off. Especially from Yi Chen's few successful cases, it could be seen that as long as fate was right, it was time to show off. Very soon, the law of acting cool went viral on the forum. However, this kind of post actually received the approval of many players. There were even some bored people who created a random fate society on the forum and discussed the feasibility of random fate every day. Apart from the bored people, there was another topic that was pinned at the top of the forum that caught Lu Wu's attention. Today, I discovered something that makes me feel a little unbelievable. The original poster was a student in school. In the morning, he accompanied his roommate who was practicing Taekwondo to the Taekwondo dojo for training. At that time, my brother had a conflict with a Taekwondo student. Then, the two of them got ready to fight for real on the stage. Then, my brother was beaten to the ground. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, when I watched them fight, I felt that their fighting skills were really weak. Maybe I have this feeling because I have watched too many fighting videos of pro players on the forum. At that time, I was hot-headed and wanted to avenge my brother. I felt very guilty when I went on the stage. The original poster had never fought before and didn't know how to fight. However, since I had already gone on the stage, what else could I do? At that time, my mind was filled with the PK skills that I learned from the forum and the way to use skills in the game. At the beginning of the fight, I was kicked twice by that guy and was at a disadvantage. This made me very angry and I decided to go all out. At that time, I started to move around according to the assassin's shadow step. In the end, that guy didn't even manage to kick me and was tricked by me into a team fight. You guys might not believe it, but I used this method to beat that guy. I tired him to death. On the way back, my classmates looked at me strangely, ha ha ha. However, after this fight, I was thinking about a problem. It seems that although we can't use the skills in the game in real life, these fighting skills can really be used in real life. It's like the assassin's signature skill, shadow steps. If this skill is used in the game, the body will definitely be as light as a swallow and leave no trace. However, if it is used in real life, although it doesn't have the effect of the skill, the flexible footwork can make you very agile in a fight. It is really useful for dodging attacks in real life. If you don't believe the original poster, you can try it in real life. If you get beaten up, please don't look for the original poster. The appearance of this post quickly caused a heated discussion among the players. Crayon_Shinchan. If the original poster has a conscience, come out and settle the medical fees. I'm watching TV in the hospital right now, laughing emoji. Strike_Gold. That's normal. Everything in this game is very realistic. If you often fight in the wild, I guarantee that your actual combat skills in real life will also become very strong. Peppa_Boar. The original poster is making a fuss out of nothing. Didn't you realize that many of the professional players in the game are experts in real life? If their real combat skills can be used in the game, then the combat skills you learned in the game can naturally be used in real life as well. Of course, spellcasting skills are excluded, laughing emoji. Shueli_the_strongest. This means that Shueli, who has played the game for more than 2 months, is actually very strong in real life. Tonight, I'll find a boyfriend to test my skills. Poverty_makes_trash. I think everyone seems to have gone off topic. The original poster gave an example about the flexible use of shadow step. In other words, the skills in this game can actually be combined with reality, except spellcasting skills. A mammoth. I can only say that the production of this game has put in a lot of effort. However, this is very normal. In the past, the skills of the characters in the wuxia-style games were all recorded in real time with the motion capture technology of real martial artists. Taoist_zombie_hunter. There are many Easter eggs and opportunities in this game. Some of them are even linked to real life. Whether you can get them or not depends entirely on your luck. I got one of the Easter eggs in the game by chance in real life. I'm so happy that's enough. I found a big treasure in the nightmare zone. Let's get to work. Crayon_Shinchan replied to Taoist_Zombie_Hunter. Damn, you're the zombie forge master who got the Easter egg? Hurry up and send me the attribute map, or I'll call the police. Taoist_Zombie_Hunter. Mr. the most argumentative, believe it or not, I'll dig up your ancestral grave if you continue to argue with me, laughing emoji. Crayon_Shinchan replied to Taoist_Zombie_Hunter. So cruel. Taoist_Zombie_Hunter replied to Crayon_Shinchan. I'm digging up a grave, please don't disturb me. I'm ready to amaze the world with one brilliant feat when the individual arena opens. Howl. Lu Wu only paid attention to the players' discussion about whether the skills in the game could be used in real life. However, he didn't think that there would be any problems. According to Bailey, although the players could use the form of the skills in real life, they didn't have any cultivation base. Therefore, they couldn't use the skills that required cultivation base. Most importantly, they weren't cultivators. Apart from the form of the skills, they couldn't even figure out the energy trajectory when they used the skills. Therefore, it was impossible for them to use the skills. Chapter 136. Bakey, Evil Nightmare Zone. A figure holding a shovel with a burlap sack tied to his waist was sneakily wandering around Nightmare City. After circling around Nightmare City once, he took out the compass that he had made according to the ancient book. After looking at it carefully, he waved his hand behind him. Behind him, a skinny, deformed creature with an unusually large head immediately took the shovel from Hui's hand and started digging at the side of the city wall with all its might. From the corpse compass, Hui could tell that there was definitely a corpse of a powerhouse in Nightmare City. Judging from the corpse energy value, this powerhouse's corpse was much stronger than Cha Na's. If he could get his hands on it, his strength would definitely increase tremendously. It was not that he did not consider entering through the city gate. However, there was a zombie poison formation set up at the city gate. He had tried twice but failed each time. Left with no choice, Hui had to find another way. With the immense strength of Cha Na's zombie spirit, he quickly dug a passable path at the corner of the wall. Looking at the hole, Hui glanced at the corpse energy value displayed on the compass again. Then, he crouched down and crawled inside. After crawling through the hole in the city wall, Hui was shocked to find that there were countless coffins floating in the sky above Nightmare City. Each coffin was tied with a rope that was connected to each other. The entire city was empty. All the doors of the buildings were shut tight and the streets were littered with yellow joss paper for the dead. Although the scene was horrifying, Hui was already mentally prepared and did not panic. Instead, he took out the compass again and started to detect the source of the corpse energy in the city. After confirming the direction, Hui shrunk his body and walked toward the center of the city. As he walked, Hui suddenly felt a little chilly. Gusts of chilly wind started to blow around him. Suddenly, the joss paper on the ground was blown up and scattered in the air. The coffins floating in the air also swayed gently under the chilly wind, making creaking sounds like wood being squeezed. Hui shivered, feeling that this place was very strange. However, this did not affect his desire for the corpses of the powerhouses. He quickened his pace. He was on tenterhooks all the way to the center of the city. His gaze was immediately attracted by a huge blood-red coffin. The digitized compass on his body emitted a ding-ding sound that would only be heard when the zombie energy was off the charts. A big treasure! Hui's eyes lit up. However, he did not open the door immediately. Instead, he walked around the blood coffin twice and asked Cha Na's zombie spirit to touch the blood coffin a few times. He only dared to approach after making sure that there was no danger. Arriving beside the blood coffin, Hui patted the cloth bag and summoned 3 skeleton warriors from within. Then, he pointed at the blood coffin. "Open the coffin!" Upon hearing the order, The skeleton warrior and Cha-Na's zombie spirit immediately approached the blood coffin and started pushing the coffin lid with all their might. However, to Hu-He's surprise, the lid of the blood coffin was extremely sturdy. The 4 zombie spirits couldn't budge it even with all their might. Putting aside the other 3 zombie warriors, he knew how strong Cha-Na's zombie spirit was. Cha-Na's strength was on par with the top few rune masters in the current stage of the game. In fact, he might even be stronger. Even so, he still couldn't open the coffin lid. One could only imagine how heavy the coffin lid was. However, he was not discouraged. After pondering for a while, he raised the shovel in his hand and started smashing the coffin cover. Just as he was smashing the blood coffin, Hidorigami, who was recuperating inside the blood coffin, suddenly opened his eyes. Then, he slowly closed his eyes again. Bang! 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 Sounds of smashing could be heard from above, causing Hidorigami to open his eyes again. A trace of blood chi flowed out of Hidorigami's body and rushed towards the coffin cover. However, the blood chi dissipated before it could even touch the coffin cover. Bang! 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 The coffin cover was continuously smashed. Hidorigami's eyes widened. He really wanted to kill this fellow who had disturbed his slumber. However, he was severely injured during the battle with the demonic god's clone. The blood chi in his body was almost depleted, so he couldn't move at all. Why is it so hard? Hu-He, who had been smashing the coffin cover for a long time, wiped his sweat, then leaned over and placed his ear on the coffin cover. This was because he seemed to have heard something inside. After a while, Hu-He, who was sure that he had heard wrongly, sat on the coffin cover and fell into deep thought again. If he were to give up just like that, he would definitely be unwilling. However, the coffin cover was too hard, and he really couldn't open it with his current strength. After pondering for a while, Hu-He's eyes lit up. He opened the interface of the shop and started choosing from the special toolbar. Short handle iron shovel, white. Digging tool attribute. Hardness 1, damage 1 purchase requirement. 1 soul coin fine iron shovel blue. Digging tool, can be used as a weapon, tool attribute. Hardness 3, damage 3 purchase requirement. 15 soul coins. Hu-He's gaze swept through the tools, then stopped at a golden shovel. Gold breaking shovel, purple. A special tool produced by the top blacksmith in Baki. Tool attribute. Hardness 10, damage 12 tool characteristic. Sharpness LV3 purchase requirement. 100 soul coins. Note: this item is a limited edition item, only 5 left. Looking at the price of the item, Hu-He felt a headache coming on. However, he gritted his teeth and bought it anyway. Then, a golden shovel appeared in his hand. Open! Holding the gold-breaking shovel, Hu-He used all his strength to smash the blood coffin. Clang! The sound of metal clashing could be heard from the point of collision. However, to Hu-He's surprise, an extremely small gap appeared where the gold-breaking shovel had struck. Although the effect was not great, at least Hu-He knew that it was feasible. He immediately passed the gold-breaking shovel to Cha-Na's zombie spirit and asked him to start smashing the coffin. However, Hu-He started to get annoyed as he continued smashing. Although the gold-breaking shovel could break open the blood coffin, its efficiency was too slow. At this rate, he did not know how long it would take before he could open the coffin. Anyway, there was a limit to the number of broken shovels. He would definitely need it in the future. Hu-He clenched his teeth and bought 3 more gold-breaking shovels from the shop. After distributing them to the zombie spirits, he ordered the 4 zombie spirits to continue smashing the coffin while he squatted down and opened the game's built-in forum to kill time by posting. Clang clang clang. Bang bang bang. Ding ding ding. The sound of metal clashing could be heard continuously. Hidorigami, who was lying in the blood coffin, widened his eyes. He felt like he was going crazy. In this state, he could not fall asleep at all. Even the chi and blood force that was slowly healing his body started to become chaotic due to the incessant sound of metal clashing. Puff! A stream of chi and blood force flowed out of Hitorigami's mouth and spread in the blood coffin. Cough, cough. Feeling the terrible condition of his body, Hitorigami could not help but start coughing. Wait! He, who had sensitive ears, immediately stopped the zombie spirits from doing their work. He came to the side of the blood coffin again and leaned close to listen. Bang, bang. Is anyone there? He asked as he patted the blood coffin twice. After a while, he, who still did not hear any response, pointed at the blood coffin and said, "Continue smashing." Wait, cough, cough. Hitorigami's weak voice came from the blood coffin. What the F***ck, a zombie has come back to life. He's eyes widened in disbelief. Then, he reached out and knocked on the coffin twice. Are you talking? Cough, cough. Yes, it's me. Can you stop knocking? If he had the strength to lift the coffin lid, Hitorigami really wanted to swallow the person outside. Chapter 137. After confirming that there was indeed a living being inside, he was stunned for 2 seconds. In the ancient records of the corpse spirit sect, there were many cases of zombies coming back to life and turning into zombies. However, there were no records of a corpse that could speak. This shocked he. After thinking for a while, he could not help but ask, "Are you alive or dead? If you're dead, I'll dig you out." Upon hearing this, Hitorigami really wanted to jump out of the blood coffin and twist the head of the person outside. "Little brother, there are no valuables or treasures in the blood coffin. Stop smashing. I'll tell you a place where treasures are hidden. Leave now." Hitorigami could only try to tempt who was determined to open the coffin. "No way, I don't want treasures. My target is you, old corpse." Upon hearing this, Hitorigami could not help but spit out another cloud of blood mist. He felt that he was not as frustrated as he was now when he fought with the demonic god's clone. If it was not for the fact that he had consumed a large amount of chi and blood to recover his head, which caused him to be unable to use his abilities, he would have jumped out and strangled he. "Do you have anything else to say? If not, I'll continue. You just lie down." Hitorigami's eyes were filled with blood mist. "Wait a minute. Don't you want corpses? I'll tell you a place. There are 3,000 corpses of ghost supreme masters there." This worked. Who was about to continue working, was immediately tempted. He immediately patted the blood coffin and said, "Where is it? Tell me now." Hitorigami's eyes flashed with a hint of delight. "Do you see the palace next to it? There are 3,000 corpses of ghost supreme masters under the palace. Hurry up and go." Upon hearing this, he followed the stairs and glanced at the huge palace behind the blood coffin. "All right, I'll dig them out after I dig you out." "Thank you, brother." He patted the blood coffin and said. He then took a step back and pointed at the blood coffin. Smash. It was recorded in the ancient records that the corpse spirit sect should not have any sympathy for corpses. Since they were in this line of work, they had to follow the rules. Since they had dug out corpses, they should not give up halfway. He remembered this sentence deeply. Thus, the symphony started playing again. Hitorigami spat out mouthfuls of chi and blood in the blood coffin. He felt really aggrieved. Meanwhile, he continued sitting at the side and scrolling through the forum. "Hey, little brother, you can't dig up this blood coffin." A voice suddenly appeared beside he, giving him a fright. He turned around and found a chubby man crouching beside him out of nowhere. "Who are you?" He stood up vigilantly. "Me? My name is Little Shah. I'm not in the same trade as you corpse refiners." The chubby man stretched out his hand, acting like he was very familiar with me. He was a little confused, but he still extended his hand and shook it. "Then what are you doing here? Also, why can't we dig up this blood coffin?" Little Shah rubbed his chubby cheeks. "Do you know who's inside? Does it matter who it is?" "Little Shah, this is a drought demon, a ferocious corpse of the Ghost Emperor realm." Little Shah lowered his voice and said seriously. His expression froze. "Is it really Hitorigami? How could it be fake?" This Hitorigami is recuperating after his battle with the demonic god's clone. Dig faster, it's actually Hitorigami. Hui's expression gradually became excited. One must know that his biggest goal in this trade was to dig out powerhouses like Hitorigami and the demonic god. Seeing this, Little Shah lost his cool. That's Hitorigami. Yeah, actually, I still hope it's the demonic god, but Hitorigami is awesome too. Hui said happily. Little Shah, aren't you afraid? Little Shah was completely dumbfounded. What's there to be afraid of? At most, I'll just die. Hui was very calm. As a player, there was no such thing as being afraid of death. Especially after he embarked on the path of corpse refiner, Hui often wandered around the graveyards in various regions of Baiki. He lost count of how many times he had died, so death was a common occurrence to him. Naturally, he was not afraid. What a ruthless person! Sure enough, the corpse refiners are all fearless. Little Shah had a look of admiration on his face. However, I still have to remind you that the reason Hitorigami chose to recuperate here is because there's a Een soul eye under this coffin. He relies on the pure Een corpse energy emitted by this Een soul eye to heal his wound. At the same time, this is also a seal. If you destroy the blood coffin that suppresses this place, the evil Een soldiers that are suppressed underneath will escape. When that happens, the land of Baiki will be plunged into misery and suffering. As he spoke, Little Shah shook his head, looking as if he could not bear to see that happen. Upon hearing this, Hui's expression changed. Is it that serious? Little Shah nodded solemnly. It's more serious than that. The evil Een soldiers have been wreaking havoc in Baiki for many years. I was wondering how you knew so much about it. Who are you? Also, when Hitorigami was not around, why didn't the Een soul eye break when no one was suppressing it? Hui asked with his eyes wide open. Upon hearing this, Little Shah raised his hand and pointed at a black coffin not far away. That's mine. Originally, I was suppressing this Een soul eye, but when Hitorigami came, he moved my house away and wanted to take over the Een soul eye. I was so angry that I fought with him. In the end, I was sent flying after 3 hit. Luckily, he was badly injured and had no time to care about me. That's how I managed to keep my life. Little Shah looked like he was lucky to have survived a disaster. You're a zombie spirit with intelligence. Hui's eyes widened. In the ancient books, it was recorded that zombie spirits that were refined could absorb the Een energy of heaven and earth to grow on their own. In the later stages, a strong zombie spirit could even develop intelligence and become a new spiritual creature of heaven and earth. However, this was Hui's first time seeing a zombie spirit that had developed intelligence. Yes, I was also refined by you corpse forge masters, Little Shah said with a chuckle. How strong are you? Hui's expression gradually became excited. I've been at the peak of the Ghost General for many years, but I can't break through. It's so uncomfortable. Little Shah said gloomily while rubbing his chubby cheek. You're the governor of the evil nightmare city, the evil Ghost General? Hui was shocked. Yes. After the king of Baiki conferred me the title of Ghost General, the task given to me was to suppress the Een soul eye. Little Shah continued to rub his cheeks and said with a smile. Hui heard him and looked at the blood coffin. Then, he went forward and hooked his arm around Little Shah's shoulder. With a face full of temptation, he said, Brother, why don't you help me smash this coffin? That way you can continue to suppress your Een soul eye, and I can get Hitorigami. Isn't that killing 2 birds with 1 stone? But we can't beat him if he comes out. Little Shah seemed a little depressed. Sigh. Brother, if he really had the ability now, he would have jumped out and beaten us up long ago. He must be at his weakest now. Let's kill him while he's down. If we miss this opportunity, we won't have another chance when he recovers. Cough, cough. At that moment, the sound of Hitorigami choking could be heard from the blood coffin. Did you hear that? Hitorigami doesn't even have the strength to speak now. Do him a favor and do him a favor. When the time comes, we'll both win. Perfect. After hearing Hu He's explanation, Little Shah seemed to be persuaded. However, he still looked at Hu He with a conflicted expression. Will it really work? Of course it will work. Hu He's tone was firm. Hu He's words immediately tempted Little Shah. Although he was very afraid of Hitorigami, as Hu He had said, Hitorigami was at his weakest now. This was indeed the best time to make a move. Alright, I'll help you smash it. Little Shah clenched his teeth and said. Chapter 138. Hearing that Little Shah, a ghost general, was willing to help, Hu He was overjoyed. He immediately took the gold breaking shovel from the zombie warrior and handed it over. Brother, let's go. It's time for revenge. Little Shah nodded his head solemnly, but he did not take the gold breaking shovel. Instead, he walked to the blood coffin and punched the coffin lid. Boom! This punch was so powerful that the ground shook. Other than Cha Na's zombie spirit, the other 3 zombie warriors were sent flying. This punch was very effective as it left a fist mark on the blood coffin. Do your best! Hu He shouted excitedly. Boom! Another punch landed on the spot where the fist mark was, causing the coffin lid to tremble and cracks to appear on it. This made Hu He extremely excited. This ghost general's attack was indeed extraordinary. With just 2 punches, the blood coffin was about to break. Go away, I'm going to gather my strength. Little Shah turned around and said with a serious expression. Upon hearing this, Hu He hurriedly retreated with his zombie spirit. A layer of thick corpse energy appeared on the surface of Little Shah's body and quickly gathered on his right fist. Open! Little Shah roared as his right fist, which was covered in corpse energy, smashed heavily on the blood coffin. The moment the corpse energy and the blood coffin came into contact, it suddenly exploded. The spreading corpse energy began to corrode the blood coffin, making a sizzling sound. Gotcha! Fine cracks appeared on the coffin lid. Then, the entire coffin lid exploded, revealing Hitorigami's body lying in the blood coffin. Seeing this, Hu He immediately took a few steps forward and came to the side of the blood coffin. He stuck his head out and looked inside. At this moment, Hitorigami was glaring at him angrily. It's really Hitorigami. Hu He had seen Hitorigami's appearance in the video of the battle between the demonic god and Hitorigami. Naturally, he would not be mistaken. Evil Ghost General, my body is already connected to the Een Soul Eye. If you move me out of the blood coffin, the seal will definitely break. Hitorigami seemed to know that Hu He was an unreasonable person, so he turned his gaze to Little Shah. Upon hearing this, Little Shah looked worried. He beat you up. Hu He immediately turned around and said to Little Shah. But, he beat you up, so you have to take revenge. Don't listen to his nonsense. Afraid that Little Shah would stop him from taking Hitorigami, Hu He started to fan the flames. And as long as I take Hitorigami away, you can go home. As he spoke, Hu Guodong willed Cha Na's zombie spirit to step forward and grab Hitorigami's gigantic head. Cha Na began to drag it out forcefully. Evil Ghost General, you will regret this. The Een Soul I was broken and the evil Een soldiers were wreaking havoc in Baiki. It's all your fault. Seeing this, Hu He quickly commanded the other 3 zombie spirit. At the same time, he stepped forward and helped Cha Na's zombie spirit to move Hitorigami's gigantic body out of the blood coffin. Bang! Hitorigami's corpse fell to the ground, and a smile appeared on Hu He's face. He was glad that this trip was not in vain, as he had really found a big treasure. But at this moment, a crisp sound like glass shattering rang out from the bottom of the blood coffin. Then, the blood coffin suddenly began to spew out thick black corpse chi. The corpse chi quickly condensed and shot up into the sky, forming a gigantic corpse chi pillar. Countless mournful wails rang out from within the corpse chi pillar, and ferocious foggy faces appeared from time to time. Seeing this, Hu He was stunned. Meanwhile, Little Shah suddenly hugged his head and squatted on the ground, his face full of despair. It's over, it's over. Hitorigami didn't lie to me. He really used his body as a medium to connect with the Ein Soul I to absorb the corpse chi. Now that his body has been moved away, the Ein Soul I has been completely destroyed. At this moment, a game notification rang in Hu He's mind. Server announcement. Player Hu He has broken the seal of the Ein Soul I. The sealed evil Ein soldiers have been released. New expansion pack activated. New expansion pack, Evil Invasion. Content of the expansion pack. 40,000 years ago, a crazy zombie forge master used the Ein Soul birth pool as a spring to create the strongest zombie spirit. He created a Ein Soul I that could release a large amount of corpse chi to nourish the zombie spirit. However, while the thick corpse chi made the zombie spirit stronger, it also gave birth to a weak consciousness. This weak consciousness gradually became evil under the irrigation of the corpse chi, and an uncontrollable evil zombie spirit army was born. After obtaining great power, they finally devoured the crazy zombie forge master and walked out of the Ein Soul I to wreak havoc in the land of Baki. They crave flesh and blood, they crave to devour, and they crave to kill even more. Evil Ein Soldiers Introduction. A mutated zombie spirit born under the irrigation of a large amount of corpse chi. Apart from possessing an extremely strong physical defense, they also mastered the evil ghost technique. Evil Ein Soldiers Level Introduction. From lowest to highest Evil Ein Soldiers, Level 80. Evil Zombie Spirit, Level 120. Evil Ferocious Spirit, Level 150. Evil Iron Commander, Level 200. Evil Zombie King. Residential System officially activated. Shop Item Update Notification. Added items are as follows: Frowny Face Mahogany House, upgradable. During the period when evil is wreaking havoc, the entire land of Baki will be severely affected and the outside world will be in great danger. This house is made of spiritual mahogany wood, which can resist the invasion of ordinary evil Ein soldiers. Area 20 square meters. Price 100 soul coins. House Guarding Talisman. A house guarding talisman that specializes in restraining zombie-type creatures. When pasted outside the house, it can deter the evil Ein soldiers from approaching, ferocious spirit level and below. It can also be used against enemies to cause fixed damage to zombie spirit. Price 200 soul coins. Spirit of the Door God Growable. A growable door god that guards the house. There are 3 main lines and hundreds of secondary growth method. 3 main lines. Ghost Wave, Force Type, 100 soul coins. Ghost Technique, Spell Type, 200 soul coins. Ghost Mountain, Defense Type, 300 soul coins. The sudden activation of the new expansion pack and the appearance of the new residential system instantly caused a sensation in the players' forum. Crayon_Shinchan. What the F***CK? I haven't even finished raising my boat, why am I suddenly raising a house? It's that bastard zombie forge master again. Didn't you say that you were digging up a big treasure? Is this the surprise you dug up for us? Forget it, put a bounty on this person's head and kill him. Surely the strongest. I'm dumbfounded. I also saw his reply about digging up a big treasure just now. What a big surprise. Put a bounty on this person too. Gritting teeth, invincible_loneliness. Everyone, stop arguing and get ready for defense. Brothers on the coast, return to the mansion of the dead as soon as possible and get ready for defense. I think the monsters are going to attack the city soon. Peppa_Boar. This bastard zombie forge master is such a scammer. Are you trying to make the game more difficult for me? Why did you suddenly give us a survival mode expansion pack? I really want to hack you to death. A_Mammoth. I originally found a new island and was ready to explore it. Now I can't do that anymore. Let's go back to our base camp. Put a bounty on this person too. Kill him every time we see him. Gritting teeth. At this moment, even he himself was dumbfounded. He raised his head and looked at the zombie energy pillar that was continuously extending upward in the sky. he suddenly felt that he was in big trouble. At this moment, the zombie energy pillar connected with the sky. Suddenly, the entire zombie energy pillar collapsed and countless evil soldiers scattered all over the land of Bakey. It's too late, run! At this moment, Little Shaw grabbed he and shot up into the sky. Wait, Hitorigami, I haven't brought Hitorigami away yet. He kept reaching out to Hitorigami's body in the sky. His heart was filled with unwillingness. It's too late, Hitorigami's body is so heavy. You won't be able to bring him away. Don't court death. Little Shaw immediately scolded him and increased his speed of ascending again. Seeing this, he felt a heartache and quickly patted the corpse bag. Suddenly, the 4 zombie spirits on the ground turned into black fog and flowed into the bag. Meanwhile, Hitorigami's body gradually moved further away. The big treasure is gone. Huhi's eyes were filled with tears. Chapter 139. Mission Requirement. Not only did he not get Hitorigami, but he had also become the public enemy of all the players. This made him feel extremely frustrated. Side mission. Evil Butcher, however, Lu Wu had always adhered to the policy of non-interference. Although it was painful to watch, he still refrained from interfering. The players were not allowed to build mahogany huts in the safe zone of the Mansion of the Dead. However, Lu Wu did not care about it in the wild. After all, the players would consume energy during the hunt and needed a safe zone to rest. The mahogany huts were equivalent to shelters. Thinking of this, Little Shaw felt that he was dead meat. The bad thing was that Bakey was going to face a wave of invasion from all sides. Kill evil soldiers, 0 out of 10, evil zombie spirits, 0 out of 5, evil ferocious spirits, 0 out of 1. But now that this plan was ruined, wouldn't he be hunted down by all the forces of Bakey? However, the evil soldiers' rampage had its pros and cons for Lu Wu. However, he had no other choice. Moreover, these evil soldiers were very powerful. Although they were not as terrifying as the Sea King and the Rock Ghost King, it was still very difficult for the players to fight against them. However, Lu Wu was not worried about the players' situation. After all, this was a matter of the whole of Bakey. The players were not the only ones being invaded. For example, the Rock Ghost King, the Hydra King, and other forces of Bakey were also being invaded. They could definitely share the burden. At this moment, the Ghost Supreme Commander who was leading the army shouted angrily. Suddenly, the formation shone with a dazzling light and led the 3,000 Ghost Supreme Commanders forward. Noticing the appearance of the Ghost Supreme Commander army, a large number of evil spirits rose into the air and pounced toward them with bloodthirsty eyes. Looking at the players' replies, Huhi's eyes were filled with tears. He quickly closed the forum as he was afraid that he would drown in their saliva. Mission Reward. Blue Title, Home Guardian, 20 soul coins. The appearance of these 3 missions immediately aroused the enthusiasm of the players. Those who were in the Mansion of the Dead immediately began to call for manpower in the guild to form a small team and get ready to hunt the evil spirit. As the degree of invasion increased, the mahogany huts, talismans, and other items in the shop became hot items and began to be sold in large quantities. Meanwhile, Huhi looked at the murderous posts on the forum with a horrified expression and muttered, "We're done for." In less than a moment, the black hexagram star array appeared on the cliff of desperation. It quickly descended and landed in front of the wooden house on the mountainside. The top 10 teams in the server will receive an additional special reward. Special Door God Force. Mission duration. Until the evil disaster ends. Reward for the first 3,000 teams. Red title, Evil Nemesis, 1,000 soul coins. Team. In an instant there were many comments below. He was discovered by Lu Wu when he was smashing the coffin. As expected, I've become an unforgivable person. What should I do? There's no name change card in the game, and I can't delete my character and start over. That means I'm done for. Lu Wu and Bailey were the ones who set up the new expansion pack. It's over. It's over. I'm in trouble. Little Shah hugged his chubby head as he squatted on the ground and wailed. At this stage, as the number of players increased significantly, the overall strength of the players increased slowly. They were unable to expand outwards, causing the monsters in many parts of Bakey to be severely insufficient to kill. Mission requirement: protect the Mansion of the Dead from being invaded by the evil Een soldiers. General mission: along the way, no matter how strong the evil was, they were unable to stop it. A path was forcefully created. Then, the formation sped up again and disappeared from the nightmare zone, heading toward the cliff of desperation. At the same time, in order to solve this hidden danger as soon as possible, Lu Wu specially released 3 missions to motivate the players. Good boy, tell me your address. I'll kill you 100 times. You have the guts to cause trouble, but you don't have the guts to fight back? This mission was ordered by the King of Bakey, and it was supervised by all the major forces in Bakey. Accumulated mission: Evil Nemesis, open. To solve this problem, Bailey found some blueprints in the equipment warehouse and created an item template that could help defend against the evil Een soldiers. Then, she placed it in the shop as a support for the players. Main mission: Homeguard: it's none of your business. Go back to sleep. The knife is sharpened, we're just waiting for you, brother. Go home, I don't believe that you won't return to the Mansion of the Dead. Have you seen the latest missions, especially the team missions? You can only accept them from the Mansion of the Dead's butler, smiling emoji. After thinking for a while, he opened a post and weakly replied, that's right. The evil invasion this time affected a large area. After the Een soul I was broken, the whole land of Bakey was filled with wandering souls and a large number of evil Een soldiers. Countless living beings were destroyed. The white-haired old man glanced at the Ghost Supreme army and couldn't help but roll his eyes and scold them. Then, he slammed the wooden door shut, leaving the Ghost Supreme army dumbfounded. Mission requirement 2. All the teams participating in this mission can register at the Mansion of the Dead's butler. After forming a team, they can't be disbanded during the mission period. The evil spirits and above that the members of the team hunted will be included in the overall score. The top 3,000 teams will receive a special reward. Where are you now? Tell me now, I'll never tell anyone. Send me a private message, brother. They all want to kill you, but I want to protect you, sincere eyes. My king, the evil is wreaking havoc. We've been awakened. Do we go to war? At this moment, He and Little Shah were squatting in a hole in the burial grounds. The main character has finally appeared. Very well, come to the Mansion of the Dead. We've gathered 1,000,000 troops to welcome you. Come quickly, smiling emoji. The good thing was that the players would have more monsters to level up with. After all, they could also obtain experience and soul coins after killing the evil Een soldiers. However, after thinking about it, Lu Wu added another setting. At the same time, the arrival of this disaster had also awakened the 3,000 ghost supreme commanders buried deep under the palace of Nightmare City. Mission requirement: form a team, minimum requirement: 10 people, and hunt down evil spirits and above to obtain additional reward points. What are you doing? The white-haired old man seemed a little shocked. Mission reward: a mahogany hut. They broke through the palace and floated in the air, forming a huge black hexagram formation in the air. As if he had sensed the movement outside the house, the white-haired old man drunkenly pushed open the door and looked outside. He suddenly realized that there were 3,000 Ghost Supreme Commanders lined up neatly in front of him. For a moment, he became the most wanted person in the entire server. Some rich players even issued a soul coin bounty. Anyone who killed he and took a screenshot could receive a reward of 10 soul coins from him. After some discussion, we've decided to kill you and force you out of the server. Happy? Surprised? Brother, your maneuvering is really impressive. The entire server is wiping your ass for the trouble you've caused. Awesome. Give me 666. The entire forum was in an uproar. The disaster that who he had created could be said to have aroused the anger of the players. Many players in the wild were killed by the evil spirits that descended from the sky before they even knew what was going on. They were forced to quit the game. Especially in the Ghost Mountains, there were millions of newbies working hard to level up there every day. The appearance of the evil soldiers could solve this problem. One of them became the public enemy of the players, while the other became the public enemy of all the forces in Baki. Thinking of the days where they would have to hide, the two of them felt bitter and could not help but burst into tears. I really didn't mean it. Crying emoji. Chapter 140. The second day after the Soul Eyes seal was broken, the entire land of Baki was filled with wandering evil spirits. Most of the players had holed up in the Mansion of the Dead, switching from Wasteland mode to Survival mode. At this stage of the game, players could only hunt in small parties. Going solo was a suicidal act. Apart from a few experienced players, there were very few players who could solo the evil spirit. Many new players even formed 100-man parties to ensure their own safety. At this stage, the players were both in pain and happiness. Even though they could not kill all the monsters, the Mansion of the Dead would be attacked from time to time, causing the death rate to become unusually high. Therefore, the mahogany hut and other items in the mall became essential items when they went out for hunting. Once again, Lu Wu made a fortune. At the same time, Lu Wu finally released the long-awaited player level ranking and party hunting ranking. Player level ranking, first place, Ao Jian, level 82 profession, 10 Swords of Diabolism 7th place, level 79 class, Ghost Beast 3rd place, Feng Yuxia level 79 profession, 5 Elements Warlock 4th, Su Xiaoba, level 79 profession, 5 Elements Warlock level 78 class, Demonic Gods Apostle 6th place, Qing Do, level 77 profession, 5 Elements Warlock 7th, Lu Gon LV 77 class, Mage 8th place, Yi Shuer, level 74 profession, Cursed Apostle. The appearance of this leaderboard allowed the players to have a clearer idea of the levels of the players who stood at the top of the game. At the same time, in order to increase the usefulness of the leaderboard, Lu Wu introduced a leaderboard reward that would be calculated once every quarter. As long as a player made it to the top 100 on the leaderboard before the end of the season, they would receive an additional Blue Pioneer 30 days title as a reward. The second leaderboard was to allow players to compare the difference in points between parties. Hunting Team Points List. First place, Demolition Officers Team Number 1, 100 people 321 points. Second place, Great Dragon Guild Number 1 Team, 100 members 320 points. Third place, Myth Number 1 Team, 100 members, full 302 points. Fourth place, Demolition Officers Team 3, 100 members 298 points. Fifth place, Avengers Team 1, 100 members 298 points. It could be seen that after the evil invasion, compared to the relatively stable level ranking, the competition on the hunting ranking was much more intense. The ranking could change at any time due to a team killing a high-level evil in the wild. For the sake of the final reward, the guilds began to compete once more. During the evil invasion phase, Bailey had also started working overnight, using soul coins to build a new building called the Corpse Refining Room. After spending an entire night, the Corpse Refinery Room was finally born at the border of the Mansion of Hell's safe zone. Corpse Refining Room. Specific functions. Players can collect materials from evil corpses after death and hand them over to the Zombie Refinery Management to obtain a zombie spirit points. After accumulating a certain number of zombie spirits, players can refine evil creatures in the zombie refinery as one-time subordinate. Apart from increasing the playability of the game, the existence of this corpse refinery was most importantly to rationalize the resources. The idea of the corpse refining room was originally proposed by Lu Wu. He felt that it was too wasteful to leave the remains of the evil spirits in the wild, so he asked Bailey if she could recycle them. Almighty Bailey immediately patted her chest to show that there was no problem. Then, she started to build the corpse refining room. The working principle of the corpse refining room was actually very simple. It was to recycle the remains of the evil spirits and purify them in the corpse refining room to obtain zombie spirit points. Then, the zombie spirit points would be used to synthesize digitalized evil spirit. This was equivalent to refining a one-time pet that would obey the player's orders, which would disappear after death. Of course, Lu Wu naturally had to charge a fee for refining evil spirits in the corpse refining room. The higher the level of the evil spirit, the more zombie spirit points were required to refine it, and the service fee was also higher. The appearance of this mode excited the players who were fans of summoners. There were even players in the safe zone of the Mansion of the Dead who collected corpses at a high price. After collecting a bag full of evil spirits' corpses, they would send it to the corpse refining room and process it into a one-time subordinate. Of course, there would be losses in the process of processing. Basically, the zombie spirit points obtained from refining 10 evil spirits' corpses of the same level would only be enough to refine one digitalized evil spirit subordinate of the same level. Even so, many players were pleasantly surprised. Even if they did not use the evil spirits themselves, they could still sell them for money. It could be said that this new expansion pack made the players feel pain and happiness at the same time. The pain was that they could not afford to spend their soul coins, but the happiness was that the various ways of playing the new mode were very interesting to them. Especially the high-difficulty survival in the wild, it made many players experience the nervousness and excitement of surviving in the apocalypse. In the burial ground, two silhouettes carefully fumbled their way forward. When they walked past the burial ground and headed north towards the Mansion of the Dead, the two of them suddenly shrunk their bodies and hid behind a huge rock. In front of them, Gu Yu and the others from the Myth Guild were surrounding a level 150 evil spirit and engaged in a fierce battle. Although there were 100 people in the team, the evil spirit was very powerful. Gu Yu and the others could not do anything to it for a while. They could only rely on wandering around and slowly wear it down. Fortunately, the evil spirit only fought by instinct and did not have any battle awareness. With the tacit cooperation of Gu Yu and the others, the team did not suffer any casualties. What should we do? Should we hide further away? Little Shah asked nervously. Okay. He answered decisively. Wait. He suddenly stopped Little Shah, who was about to run back. You're a ghost general. What are you afraid of? No matter how many of them there are, they can't beat you. Oh, that's true. Little Shah said in realization. He could not help but want to cover his face. He cursed in his heart, which zombie forge master refined this zombie spirit? How could it be so timid and yet so powerful? What do we do now? Little Shah, who had no decision-making ability, asked again. Let's hide first and try not to get into a conflict. Safety first. Then, the two of them shrunk their bodies again and crouched behind the huge rock. They quietly listened to the sound of spells and bodies colliding as well as the shouts of the players. At this moment, Sun Chi, who was healing his teammates, suddenly wrinkled his nose and looked at the huge rock. Boss, there's also an evil spirit there. I can smell a strong corpse aura. Let's go take a look. Don't get ambushed. We'll deal with this one first. Gu Yu's body flashed and appeared behind the evil spirit. He punched it hard. Seeing this, Sun Chi leaped down from the sky and ran towards the huge rock. For safety reasons, Sun Chi was very careful. He first leaped onto the huge rock from the other side, then slowly poked his head out to look. Suddenly, 6 pairs of eyes met and the 3 of them were shocked. Zombie Forge Master. Son of AB****. Damn, it's a white phantom. The 3 of them exclaimed at the same time. Shh. Don't make a sound, brother son of AB****. He smiled apologetically and said in a low voice. Seeing this, Sun Chi nodded solemnly. Then, he looked up to the sky and howled. Boss, this B***starred zombie Forge Master is here. Come quickly, I've caught him. Run. He immediately wanted to escape, but Sun Chi's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He bit his arm, and he could not shake him off no matter how hard he tried. The ones who hated he the most were undoubtedly the civilian players. As a member of the civilian players, Sun Chi's eyes were red with rage. I haven't even gotten the money to maintain the boat, and now you want me to maintain the house and the door god? This is an irreconcilable feud. Upon hearing the words, Zombie Forge Master, the members of the Myth Squad who were besieging the evil spirit were stunned. Then, they all rushed towards the huge rock pile, not even caring about the evil spirit. Chapter 141. Upon seeing this, Little Shaw's expression changed. He was about to run away when he grabbed him with his other hand. Big brother, let's go together. Little Shaw was about to pull him up when he realized that many figures had appeared beside the boulder. One of them even looked like the clone of the demonic god who defeated Hidorigami. Immediately, Little Shaw's face turned pale. He muttered, "Take care, brother." Then, he turned around and ran away, disappearing from his sight in the blink of an eye. The ghost general was scared away just like that? This made his heart ache. Motherf ***, what happened to the vow we made in the cave that we would be brothers and share weal and woe with each other? When the people from the Myth Guild saw he, the most wanted criminal in the entire region, their expressions turned ferocious and they quickly approached him. This made his heart beat rapidly. He knew that he must not die at this stage. If he died, the resurrection point would be in the mansion of the dead. He could imagine the horrifying scene of being spawn-camped and unable to leave the safe zone. "Ah, dog, let go!" He slapped the dog's head, trying to break free from its bite so that he could escape. Sun Chi whimpered and bit even harder. He had no choice but to pat the corpse bag and summon the 4 zombie spirits in his hands. 3 of the zombie spirits rushed towards the people from the Myth Guild, while Cha-Na's zombie spirit grabbed Sun Chi's upper and lower jaw and began to exert force. Upon seeing Cha-Na's zombie spirit, Sun Chi's eyes widened. His upper and lower jaws were slowly pushed open by the huge force. "Go to hell!" He who had broken free, kicked Sun Chi away. Then, he made a hand sign and shouted, "Explode!" The 3 zombie spirits that were close to the Myth Guild exploded instantly. Smoke and dust filled the air. He immediately seized the opportunity to escape towards the east. Cough, cough. It smells so bad. When the people from the Myth Guild came out of the thick fog, they found the dog standing on the ground with his mouth agape. His figure was long gone. "Dog, where is he?" Guyu quickly asked. "Boss, this guy is 2F** King Daring." Sun Chi was so shocked that he could not close his mouth. "What do you mean? I'm asking you, where did he go?" Guyu was stunned. "Boss, do you know what I just saw? Cha-Na's head has been stolen by this kid, the symbol of our Christmas battle." Guzi still looked as if he was so shocked that he couldn't move. Cha-Na's head. At first, Guyu was a little confused. Then, a look of shock appeared in his eyes. This kid is crazy. He must be tired of living to do this. Thinking of this, Guyu quickly opened the guild voice chat and asked a player in the Mansion of the Dead to check if Cha-Na's head was still on the city gate. A minute later, a guild member posted a screenshot on the guild channel. Everyone who saw this screenshot was dumbfounded. In the picture, there was a carved wooden head of Cha-Na hanging on the gate of the Mansion of the Dead. If it wasn't for Sun Chi's discovery this time, they wouldn't have noticed it since they often went in and out. At this moment, everyone's mood was abnormally painful. "Oh my god, this brother is really AF** King Ruthless person. He wants to go to heaven. Chase, we must catch him. If we don't force him to surrender, who knows how many more outrageous things this kid will do." After that, Guyu asked Sun Chi to lead the way. The entire Myth Squad chased after he like crazy, vowing to eliminate this malignant player. At this moment, he was running forward frantically with a terrified look on his face. He knew from Guzi's expression that he could no longer hide the fact that he had stolen Cha-Na's head. If he didn't run, he would really be dead meat. As he ran frantically, he turned around and was shocked to find that a team of assassins had appeared behind him with shadow step. Oh my God! He wished he had a few more legs so that he could run faster. After turning around a boulder that blocked his way, he was about to continue running when he suddenly felt his body sink. He was pulled to the side by a force. The moment his body landed on the ground, he wanted to resist, but he saw a handsome man in front of him shaking his head at him with a serious expression. Swoosh! 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 At this moment, a team of assassins with shadow step glided over their heads. After making sure that they were far away, the boy waved at he. Follow me. He was a little confused. He didn't know why this person wanted to help him, but he still followed. He followed the boy and walked through the boulders for a while. When they reached an empty space surrounded by boulders, the man stopped in his tracks. You're safe. He was touched and quickly thanked him. Brother, thank you so much. You're welcome. I don't think you did anything wrong. It's just a game, so having fun is the most important thing. Murphy patted his shoulder and said with a smile. You're my soulmate. He quickly grabbed Murphy's hand with a face full of excitement. At this moment, he felt that someone finally understood him. It turned out that there were like-minded people among the players. At this moment, the sound of a sharp weapon piercing through flesh was heard. His body trembled as he turned around in disbelief. He saw a cute girl with long hair behind her smiling as she stabbed a dagger into his back. The girl smiled as she pulled out the dagger and stabbed it again. Brother, save me. Thinking that he was being followed by a member of the Myth Guild, he quickly turned around to look at Murphy to ask for help. However, he saw that Murphy was also stabbing his chest with a dagger. At this moment, he was dumbfounded. He didn't understand why his savior would suddenly want to kill him. Backstab, the girl shouted from behind again. Red bloody words appeared above his head. His vision started to blur. Why? He looked at Murphy in despair as he was about to die. It's just a game, so having fun is the most important thing. But you made us unhappy. Murphy answered with a smile. I see. His body fell to the ground with a loud thud. At this moment, he felt very tired. The gaming experience was really terrible. His sworn brother, the Ghost General, had abandoned him and ran away. His savior had attacked him. This world was too full of tricks. How was a pure person like him going to survive in the future? Little Pomelo, take a screenshot. The assassin boy, Murphy, quickly said to the girl. The girl heard him and nodded. She turned on the camera function and pointed it at his corpse. Click, click, click. She took 3 consecutive shots. Then, the two of them squatted together and began to upload the pictures of his death to the forum. Killing target, Zombie Forge Master. Waiting for rewards, Crayon_Shinchan. Congratulations! Congratulations, you've achieved the first kill. Reward, 0.01 soul coins. Peppa_Boar. I feel so good. I'm going to wait for his resurrection in the mansion of the dead. Good job. Reward, 20 soul coins. Shueli_the_strongest. Wow, the malignant tumor is finally killed. I was so angry when I saw everyone discussing how this guy stole Cha-Na's head. I didn't expect him to be killed so quickly. I like it. Reward, 1 soul coin. E_Schwer_is_the_cutest. Amazing. Everyone is looking for him now. Your first kill must be liked. Reward, 100 soul coins. Poverty_makes_trash. Actually, I could tolerate the evil invasion he created, but I didn't expect him to steal the symbol of our battle, Cha-Na's head. This is not a small matter. Good job. I'm poor, but I still want to reward him. Reward, 10 soul coins. Captain_Dragonfly, let's not talk too much. Keep the reward. Reward, 10 soul coins, watermelon_Taro. I earned my hard-earned money from carrying bricks. I don't have much. Reward, 3 soul coins. After the screenshot of Hu He's death was uploaded, the forum suddenly became lively. Everyone seemed very happy. From this, it could be seen how much the players hated Hu He, the malignant tumor. At this moment, Hu He logged out of the game and took off the virtual reality helmet. He stared blankly at the monitor with his empty eyes. He could almost see himself being surrounded by the army of players in 3 hours. Chapter 142. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. Dense raindrops fell from the sky. The trees in the forest swayed left and right amidst the howling wind. They rustled as they collided with each other. It sounded like they were crying, but at the same time, it sounded like they were narrating something. On the muddy ground, 2 thin and frail figures leaned against each other. They were shivering in the howling cold wind as they leaned closer to each other. At this moment, the boy's thin clothes were torn, and there was a ghastly wound on his back. His skin was torn and his flesh was exposed. Fresh blood flowed down his back and gathered into a small stream on the muddy ground, flowing quietly. The boy's face was getting paler and paler. His lips were trembling because of the pain. He pursed his lips tightly as if he was afraid of making a sound. "Little Pomelo, I might die," the boy said weakly as he hugged the girl. "That won't happen. We agreed to escape together. You even said that you would marry me." The girl's face was brimming with yearning for a better life. However, one could tell from her empty eyes that she could not see clearly what was in front of her. The boy's pale lips trembled slightly when he heard that. He reached out his hand and caressed little Pomelo's face. "You must escape. You must live well. Promise me." "Yes, let's escape together," the girl answered solemnly. The boy could not hold on any longer as his blood was flowing out. He started to gasp for air. At this moment, he yearned to continue living by little Pomelo's side. He wanted to accompany her as she grew up and take care of her for the rest of her life. However, his life seemed to have come to an end at this very moment. "I really can't accept this. I just hope that little Pomelo can escape after I die. I beg of you, God." His vision gradually blurred. The boy's head drooped down gently. At this moment, he seemed to hear the voices of those people again. The blue world in the cultivation pool appeared in front of his eyes again. What a perfect test subject. It's really rare in this age of chaos. Then your serial number will be 410 from now on. Life is stabilized. Inject a little spiritual power. Let's see if we can awaken his special constitution. What a pity, it seems like it has failed. For 10, don't die. You have to survive at least 10 experiments. This is your roommate, her name is 423. Don't fight, or else you know the consequences. What a pleasant surprise. 423. Perhaps we can use your special physique to research the secrets of cultivation. You're much stronger than that useless 410. Ha ha ha. 423. Your special constitution has been awakened. You actually succeeded in fusing with the spiritual power. Ha ha. We're going to succeed. I didn't expect that trash 410 to successfully activate his special constitution. What a pleasant surprise. From now on, you and 423 will be the treasures of our lab. Memories flashed before his death. Other than the experiments that scared him, the soft and weak voice of the girl appeared in his mind again. 410, will we die here? Don't call me 410, I have a name, I'm Murphy. Actually, my name is not 423. My name is Little Pomelo. Why do you keep staring at me? I can't see you, I can only feel you, hee hee. Murphy, why are they doing this to us? I feel so painful, so painful. Little Pomelo, you have to hold on. They said that you will succeed. You won't die. Murphy, I feel like I can't hold on any longer, I feel like I'm going to die, I'm in so much pain. Little Pomelo, you have to hold on, I will bring you out, definitely. Really? I swear. Yes, I believe in you. I heard from my mother that I should marry the boy I like when I grow up. Murphy, I like you. I'll marry you after we escape from here. Yes, we will definitely escape from here. Little Pomelo, I feel that my strength is getting stronger and stronger. We're almost out, almost. But Murphy, why is my strength not getting stronger? I just feel like I've become two of me, it's so awkward. Maybe I'm a boy, hee hee. Murphy, are we really going to escape? But what if I can't see the road? I'm your eyes. It's so good to have you. After an unknown period of time, Murphy felt as if something was crawling on his face. He slowly opened his eyes, only to find that little Pomelo was lifting a lock of hair and gently stroking his face. I'm not dead? Murphy asked in a hoarse voice. Murphy, we'll share our lives from now on. You are me, I am you, we'll never be separated again. Little Pomelo held Murphy's hand and smiled foolishly. How did you do it? Because I didn't want you to die. Your body slowly turned cold. I cried my heart out, thinking that you can't die. Then the other me in my body seemed to have entered your body. Now we're sharing our lives. As she spoke, little Pomelo reached out her hand and pinched her own face. Does it hurt? Feeling the faint pain on his face, Murphy also smiled. He knew that they were really together this time. It hurts so much, I want to pinch you back. Murphy smiled and pinched his own face too. Hey Murphy, you bullied me, I want to pinch you back too. Two bodies, sharing a life, they held hands and walked out of the forest step by step, heading towards a new life. In this cruel world, they stubbornly survived. They were bullied, endured hunger, and even lied to, but they were still very happy because they still had each other. They also thought about going home, back to their parents, but on this journey home, they realized that they were inseparable from each other, and nothing else mattered. He was her eyes, showing her the way and illuminating her dark world. She was his life, docking for him, becoming his gentle harbor. One day, Murphy found out about the game Battle Online, knowing that there was a completely real world in it, so he used all the savings he earned to buy 2 virtual reality devices, wanting to show her the real world. Murphy, I'm angry now. You've spent all your money, we're going to starve in the future. Little Pomelo, I heard that you can earn money in this game. How can I let you starve? You know, if you're hungry, I'll definitely be hungry too. So you feed me every day so that you won't starve. I'm so sad. Yeah, so you have to eat your fill every day. Alright, I'll listen to you this time. In order to figure out how to earn money in this game, and what class to choose to earn the most money, Murphy asked the veteran players in the forum many times, hoping to get some help. After being guided by Crayon Shinchan, they found out that assassin players could earn a lot of money. This was because many rich players in the game would issue bounty quests, kill a specific player, and collect the bounty after taking a screenshot. Assassins were the most efficient class for assassinations. After officially coming into contact with the game content, little Pomelo saw the colorful world for the first time, and she was deeply fascinated by it. After knowing that Murphy had chosen the assassin class, she also chose to be an assassin, because this time she wanted to earn money with him, and work hard for their happiness together. Hence, there were 2 lovers who specialized in taking on bounty quests in the game. The peculiar souls of Murphy and little Pomelo naturally attracted Lu Wu's attention, so he asked Bailey about it. According to Bailey, their souls were actually connected and became twin souls. They were an inseparable existence. At that time, Lu Wu asked out of curiosity, how long would this state last? However, Bailey said, longer than forever, even if they reincarnate, they're destined to never be separated again. Out of curiosity, Lu Wu paid attention to their situation many times. Until one time, under the sunset by the sea, Lu Wu saw the 2 of them walking away hand in hand, but there was only a shadow behind them. Chapter 143. In the safe zone of the mansion of the dead in Baiki. A dense crowd gathered around the resurrection point, quietly waiting for a certain malignant figure to appear. After 3 hours of waiting, the long-awaited figure finally appeared at the resurrection point. He who had entered the game, was stunned when he saw the crowd before him. An awkward smile appeared on his face, then he quickly exited the game and disappeared once again. The crowd was speechless. This malignant figure ran away just like that? He didn't even let us vent our anger by scolding him? Bastard, I wanted him to hand over Cha-Na's head just now, but he ran away just like that. Did I wait for nothing? I don't believe that this guy won't come back online. Come on, it's time to compete in endurance. Hence, the players continued to guard the resurrection point. During this period, Huhi's figure appeared several times at the resurrection point. However, every time he saw that the crowd did not retreat, he would decisively go offline. After competing in endurance for half a day, Huhi's figure appeared again. This time, he did not go offline. Instead, he looked at the crowd with a dejected expression. Everyone, don't you feel bored? When the crowd heard this, some took out their homemade chessboards and started playing chess, some took out tea sets and started drinking tea, and some started playing cards. All kinds of entertainment items were available, and none of them had any intention of leaving. This made Huhi dumbfounded. He cursed in his heart. How could they do this? They really did not intend to let me out of the safe zone. Looks like I can only sneak out when their online time is up, Huhi thought sadly. At this moment, a group of people came from afar. Brothers, it's time to change shift. Those who are supposed to complete missions, those who are supposed to hunt, go ahead. When the crowd around the resurrection point heard this, they packed their things, stood up, and left one after another. The new batch of people once again sat down around the resurrection point. Huhi was speechless. Give up. Now that all the major guilds have discussed it, they will work in shifts, 24 hours a day. Are you ready to quit the game? Guyu from the Myth Guild took a few steps forward, walked into the resurrection point, and patted Huhi's shoulder. Isn't it exciting? Sun Chi, who was at Guyu's feet, bared his teeth. What you guys are doing is immoral. Huhi was filled with grief and indignation. Immoral? Guyu was stunned. Why did this sentence sound so awkward coming from the mouth of a grave digger? Why didn't you think of morality when you stole Cha-Na's head and put a wooden sculpture on it? Sun Chi, who was beside Guyu, gritted his teeth. Huhi waved his hand and sat down in the resurrection point. He looked at Guyu and the others expectantly, as if he was trying to move them with his sincerity. Oh yeah, grave digger, what kind of treasure did you dig up that caused you to get into such a big trouble? Guyu asked curiously while playing chess with Sun Chi. This reminded Huhi of Hitorigami, who he almost got. He couldn't help but let out a long sigh. I almost got Hitorigami, and I almost became invincible in the whole server. If I had Hitorigami, who would I be afraid of? I would be invincible everywhere. I was just a little bit away, Huhi said as he used his index finger and thumb to draw a very short distance. Drought Demon. Guyu was instantly energized. Although his Demonic Gods Apostle was the most powerful legacy class in the entire server, the worst part about his class was that there was no systematic way to advance. If he couldn't advance for a long time, he would definitely be surpassed by others. The Hitorigami was the key to his class advancement, and it was also his most important mission right now. Where's Hitorigami? Guyu quickly asked. The evil nightmare city. At that time, he was absorbing energy from the seal to recover. I spent a lot of effort to dig him out. In the end, this weak seal broke. Just thinking about it makes me angry, Huhi said angrily as he recalled the past. How did you get into that place? Guyu was stunned. He had brought people there several times before, but they were all stopped by the corpse poison array at the city gate. Before they could even enter, they were completely annihilated. You've been there too? Tell me, how did you get in? Guyu asked anxiously. Hearing this, Huhi seemed to have thought of something and chuckled. there's a way to enter the city. You're not a zombie forge master, so naturally, you don't know how to be flexible. It's extremely difficult to get in, but you can bring me along. I can help you get in. Huhi's words made Gu Yu very conflicted. It was not easy to find a way to enter the evil nightmare city, but it seemed like only this malignant tumor knew the way. He was at a loss as to what to do. Brother, you have to rely on me if you want to get in. Think about it, I can already see the desire in your eyes. Knowing that there was a chance, Huhi immediately smiled. Boss, you can't let this guy go, or our guild will be finished. Sun Chi seemed to have noticed Gu Yu's interest and quickly dissuaded him. Of course, Gu Yu knew the consequences. The current rotation was decided by the major guilds after discussion. Letting Huhi out without permission would be breaking the rules, and he would definitely be attacked. However, he finally had the hope of advancing his class, so he did not want to give up. After thinking about it, Gu Yu created a voice chat group and invited Chen Ziyu, Wu Gui, Lu Zhan, Lu Chai, and other guild leaders into the voice chat channel. Gu Yu, brothers, let's discuss something. Yi Shuer, what's up? Chen Ziyu, I'm killing evil spirits, let's talk later. Lu Chai, same question, what's up? He saw that all the guild leaders had joined the group. Gu Yu, brothers, let's discuss something. Can I borrow this malignant tumor? I promise he won't run away. Yi Shuer, no! Lu Chai, no +1 Wu Gui, no +2 Chen Ziyu, no +3. Seeing that all of them could not reply, Gu Yu felt a headache. However, he did not want to miss the opportunity to advance his class just like that. After thinking about it, he explained the difficulty of advancing his class. Without Huhi, he would not be able to advance successfully. Seeing Gu Yu's sincere attitude, the few guild leaders hesitated. Striking while the iron was hot, Gu Yu promised some benefits and promised to send the malignant tumor back to the safe zone. Only then did they reluctantly agree to borrow Huhi for a while. After getting the agreement from the major guilds, Gu Yu let out a sigh of relief and turned his gaze to Huhi. Let's go, bring me to Nightmare City. However, to ensure that you won't run away or go offline halfway, you must always be in combat mode. Hearing Gu Yu's words, Huhi was delighted. He thought that he would be a fool not to run away. However, when he heard Gu Yu say that he must always be in combat mode in case he went offline, he was stunned. How can I always be in combat mode? Simple, let the dog bite you all the way. Huhi, Sun Chi. Chapter 144. Outside Bakey's evil nightmare city. The myth squad led by Gu Yu was slowly approaching the city. At this stage, the vicinity of Nightmare City was undoubtedly the area where evil wreaked havoc the most. In order not to attract the attention of the evil, Gu Yu did not bring the entire guild's combat power. Instead, he only brought a few dozen of his most elite members. As they approached Nightmare City, Gu Yu and the others also noticed the smoke-like pillar of zombie energy that shot up into the sky. On top of the pillar of zombie energy, there was a continuous stream of black silhouettes descending in all directions. Seeing this scene, everyone could not help but turn their heads and stare at Huhi. Huhi smiled awkwardly and stretched out his hand to shake off Sun Chi, who was biting his left arm and had suddenly increased his strength. How do we get in, you who play with corpses? Gu Yu turned around and asked Huhi when they arrived at the city gate. Ahem, the layout of this city gate is very mysterious. It's a zombie poison formation. Once you enter, the poison will enter your body and it will be hard for you to survive. Therefore, we have to use special methods. Hearing this, Gu Yu felt that this kid was indeed something. Therefore, we have to go through there. Huhi pointed at the hole that he dug previously at the side of the city wall. Everyone was speechless. So simple? Gu Yu was stunned. Yes, Huhi nodded. Kill him and send him back. The veins on Gu Yu's forehead were throbbing. Upon seeing this, the guild subordinates all raised their broadswords and approached Huhi. Wait, big brother, don't do this. It's dangerous inside and full of traps. Without me, you will never be able to enter. Are there really traps? There are a lot of traps and danger lurking everywhere. He looked serious. All right, you lead the way. Let's go in. Then, the members of the Myth Guild followed he and entered through the hole below. After passing through the hole, the members of the Myth Guild were shocked to find that the entire Nightmare City was filled with zombie energy. The ground was covered in a thick layer up to their knees. Their line of sight was also blocked by the thin zombie energy that was still slowly descending from the sky. They could only see about 5 meters away. The low growls of the evil spirits could be heard from afar. Big Brother Goo, I've helped you find Hidorigami. Can you let me go? He turned around and asked. Let's talk after we find him. Goo glared. He sighed. He took out a bag of powder from the cloth bag and passed it to Goo. Boss old Goo, this is loose corpse powder. I used a part of Cha-Na's head to make it. If you apply this, the evil spirits won't be able to find you. Oh right, don't use too much. This is all I have, he said with a pained expression. Upon hearing this, Goo took the loose corpse powder, poured out some and smeared it on his body before passing it to the side. Enhanced scattered corpse powder, lasts for 30 minutes. Not bad. You're a grave robber in real life, right? Moreover, it's an ancestral grave robber. Otherwise, how could they have created this profession? Goo asked curiously. He chuckled but did not answer. According to the ancient records, corpse refiners were much more vicious than grave robbers. Digging up people's ancestral graves was a common occurrence. Even when they clashed with enemies, they would secretly go to the ancestral graves of their enemies, dig out their ancestors, and refine them into zombie spirits before engaging them in a head-on battle. Although he had never experienced the feeling of controlling an ancestor to beat up his grandson, the mere thought of it gave him an incomparable pleasure. After the dozens of people had finished applying the loose corpse powder, Goo threw the powder into his personal space under he's dumbfounded expression. Boss old Goo, that's mine. He said with a pained expression. I know. I'm afraid that you'll run away. I'll return it to you after I'm done. Don't you trust me? I trust you. He clenched his teeth. Following that, Goo and the others started approaching the center of Nightmare City according to the direction pointed by he. Relying on the effect of the loose corpse powder, Goo and the others encountered many evil spirits along the way. However, these evil spirits would avoid them as soon as they smelled their scent and did not attack them. Why does this loose corpse powder have such an effect? Mo Lingtian, who was following behind Goo, could not help but ask curiously. This loose corpse powder is made by grinding a part of Cha-Na's head. I added some spiritual materials that I found to imitate the evil spirit's scent. After applying it, these brainless evil spirits will treat us as evil spirits as well. Moreover, they're high-level evil spirits, so naturally, they won't attack us. Mo Lingtian listened and nodded his head. However, the way he looked at he became strange. After all, no normal person would study these things. After arriving at the center of Nightmare City, he's heart was pounding. What he was most afraid of now was Hidorigami disappearing. Actually, he had a selfish motive for bringing Goo along this time. Goo wanted to kill Hidorigami, while he wanted Hidorigami's corpse. Their goals could be said to be completely in conflict. If he could really obtain Hidorigami's corpse, he would be willing to be killed and brought back to the city. His idea was simple. After obtaining Hidorigami's corpse, he would return to the city and concentrate on studying it, refining Hidorigami's corpse into a zombie spirit. By that time, he could leave the safe zone whenever he wanted. Even if he walked out upside down, no one could stop him. Parting the thick fog, the familiar blood coffin appeared in front of everyone's eyes. He cautiously took a few steps forward. He anxiously poked his head out and looked inside. However, when he saw the scene inside, he was stunned. Inside the blood coffin, his sworn brother, Little Shah, was lying peacefully inside. At this time, Gu Yu and the others also took a step forward and looked inside. Seeing little Sha inside the blood coffin, Gu Yu's expression became worse and worse. Big brother Gu, don't panic. He could already feel the murderous aura. He quickly reached out and hugged little Sha's head. He began to shake him vigorously. Feeling the shaking from outside, little Sha opened his sleepy eyes and stared at He in confusion. Good brother! Little Sha's eyes gradually regained their vigor. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't beat him, he really wanted to fight him right now. Why did his brother sound so cheap in his mouth? Brother little Sha, where's Hidarigami? Where did Hidarigami go? Upon hearing this, little Sha slowly sat up in the blood coffin, revealing a hole at the bottom of the coffin. Hidarigami was stuffed vertically inside, looking up at them angrily. Everyone was speechless. Using Hidarigami as a cushion? The same thought appeared in everyone's mind, and that was, this fellow who was known as Little Sha was really bold. Brother Little Sha, quickly pull Hidarigami out. We need him urgently, he said with his eyes shining. No way. No way. Little Sha quickly shook his head. Why? Now, I've used Hamba's body as a plug to block the Een Soul Eye. Even though I can't stop the corpse energy from seeping out, it can at least have some effect. If I pull him out, then the seal will truly shatter completely. Everyone, Hidarigami? Plug? Black guy's question mark face. Aren't you afraid that he'll absorb the zombie energy to recover? He could not help but ask. No, I'm still here. I'll absorb as much zombie energy as Hidarigami absorbs. I guarantee that he won't recover, Little Sha said as he rubbed his chubby cheeks. Is there no room for negotiation? He was a little unwilling. Little Sha shook his head again. Upon seeing this, Gu Yu immediately gave a look to the back. The guild members immediately understood and surrounded the blood coffin. Chapter 145. Seeing that Gu Yu was about to make a move, he quickly turned around to stop him. Gu Yu and the others might not know Little Sha's strength, but how could he not? Little Sha might look chubby and harmless, but the strength he displayed when he smashed the coffin was still fresh in He's memory. Seeing the puzzled look in their eyes, he lowered his voice and said, Ahem, he's a ghost general. Don't get yourself killed, brothers. Gu Yu and the others were stunned and quickly turned on their insight mode. Evil Ghost General, Peak Ghost General. Character details. Lunatic Zombie Forgemaster's most outstanding creation. He retained his consciousness even after absorbing a large amount of corpse energy and evil chi. He is the Lord of Evil. Later, he was summoned by the King of Baki and conferred the title of Evil Ghost General. He has been guarding the Een Soul Eye in Nightmare City for 40,000 years. Seeing the analysis menu, Gu Yu and the others widened their eyes and slowly put down their weapons. This is too strong. We can't afford to mess with him. We can't afford to mess with him. What should we do? Gu Yu asked He gloomily. He stretched out his hand and shook his left arm that was being bitten by Sun Chi. Big Gu, don't worry. Trust me. As he spoke, he turned around with a smile on his face and looked at Little Sha. Brother Sha, are we still brothers? Of course. We swore brotherhood in the cave. We must be good brothers for life, Little Sha answered decisively. Upon hearing this, he beamed with joy. Big brother, I have a matter of life and death that requires your help. I'm sure you're willing to help, right? Of course. Give us Hidarigami. No! Give it to me. If you don't, I'll be dead. You'll never see me again, he begged with a sad face. No way. Just when he did not know what to do, Gu Yu pushed him away and smiled at Little Sha. Brother Little Sha, do you know what this is? Gu Yu took out a pearl condensed from zombie spirit points from his personal space. Zombie Spirit Pearl. Obtained from an evil corpse after being purified in the zombie refining room. Contains 542 zombie spirit points. Seeing the zombie spirit pearl, Little Sha showed a longing expression and rubbed his hands. It looks delicious. Guyu nodded. It's really delicious. I think we're fated. Do you want me to give it to you? Little Shah quickly nodded. You're my brother from now on. Give it to me now. Upon seeing this, Guyu passed the zombie spirit orb to Little Shah. Little Shah's face lit up with joy. He took the corpse spirit bead and swallowed it in one gulp. An expression of enjoyment appeared on his face. Seeing that Little Shah had taken the bait, Guyu took out another zombie soul orb from his personal space. Brother, are you full? I still have more. Quick, give it to me quickly, Little Shah exclaimed in surprise. Without hesitation, Guyu immediately passed the zombie soul orb to Little Shah. After watching Little Shah swallow it again, Guyu struck while the iron was hot. Brother, I still have a lot of these pearls. Do you want some? Little Shah immediately nodded. After swallowing the 2 zombie soul pearls, he was pleasantly surprised to find that his cultivation level of the Ghost General Peak was showing signs of improvement. His heart was full of desire for the zombie soul pearls, but the simple-minded him did not notice that Guyu was already setting up a trap. I've left the rest of the pearls outside the city gate. Come with me to get them now. What about Hidorigami? A hesitant look appeared on Little Shah's face. Realizing Guyu's intention, he quickly said, Big brother, I'll watch over this place for you. As your brother, I'll definitely guard it well for you. But don't you want Hidorigami? Little Shah looked conflicted. Even if I want Hidorigami, I can only take it with your consent, big brother. So go and get the pearls. I'll wait for you to come back and discuss with you. All right. Little Shah immediately smiled happily. Let's go and get the pearls, Guyu said to Little Shah after giving he a look. Little Shah nodded his head and grabbed Guyu's shoulder. I'll bring you there. As he spoke, he grabbed Guyu, levitated into the air, and flew out of the city. After the 2 of them disappeared, he quickly summoned Cha-Na's zombie spirit. Together, they hugged Hidorigami's head and dragged it out with all their might. Upon seeing this, the rest of the people from the Myth Guild immediately wanted to help. However, at this moment, Guyu's voice rang in the guild live chat channel. Brothers, please don't help, please don't. Upon seeing this, the people from the Myth Guild were puzzled, but they still stopped trying to help. What are you standing there for? Come and help. He shouted as he dragged Hidorigami with all his might. Ouch, my stomach hurts. Me too, my stomach hurts. Could it be that I've been poisoned? Ouch, me too, my stomach hurts. Seeing the people from the Myth Guild squatting down with their hands on their stomachs, he was stunned. He then looked at Mo Lingtian, who was the only one standing. I have a stomachache too. Mo Lingtian smiled awkwardly and slowly squatted down with his hands on his head. Isn't it a stomachache? And what's with the skillful squatting down with his hands on his head? This time, he looked at the dog who was biting his left arm. Ugh, toothache, the dog whimpered incoherently. I don't care anymore. At this moment, he only had Hidorigami in his eyes. He immediately used all his strength to pull Hidorigami out of the cave under the blood coffin. Boom! Hidorigami's huge body landed on the ground and the ground shook. At this moment, 12 rotating pearls suddenly appeared in the blood coffin. They trembled slightly and slowly floated in the air. Then, they suddenly shrank and collided with each other. Boom! A thick corpse energy rushed toward them, causing everyone to squint their eyes. Buzz! Buzz! At this moment, the 12 pearls spun in an anti-clockwise direction and shot up into the sky. When they were high up in the sky, they suddenly exploded. The 12 pearls were like meteors, each falling toward one direction in the land of Baki. Soon, under everyone's astonished gaze, corpse energy pillars shot up into the sky from afar. There were as many as 12 pillars this time. Server warning. The evil seal has been completely destroyed by player he. 12 corpse energy pillars have descended. Players, please pay attention to your safety. The outside world is extremely dangerous. Game notification. the situation of the evil invasion has worsened. The 12 corpse energy pillars need to be destroyed to break the invasion. Note: each corpse energy pillar is guarded by an evil corpse general with the strength of a beginner ghost general. Game notification 2. The Mansion of the Dead may be invaded by evil in the near future. Players, please be prepared for defense. When the 12 corpse energy pillars appeared, an even larger number of evil soldiers rained down from the sky. A large number of players in the fields were struck by the evil soldiers while they were still in a daze. They were killed by the evil soldiers descending from the sky, transforming into white light as they were expelled from the game. At this moment, Mo Lingtian and the others finally understood their boss's good intentions. They felt lucky. They were so close to being put on the server announcement list. It was so thrilling. Meanwhile, the smile on Huhi's face because he got Hidorigami instantly froze. Then, he turned around and looked at the people from the Myth Guild with a face full of grief and indignation. I don't know. I didn't participate. I didn't. It has nothing to do with me. Didn't you see that you were the only one in the notification? Yeah, this is life. You can't blame us. If it wasn't for the stomachache, we would definitely have helped you. Yeah. Sometimes, it's inevitable. It's irresistible. Brother, don't be sad. Brother, bear with the grief and welcome the new life with a smile. At this moment, Huhi felt like he was about to explode. Is this really the end of me? The trouble I've caused is getting bigger and bigger. Is there still a place for me in this game? I don't care anymore. Thinking of this, Huhi stared at his only hope, Hidorigami, with bloodshot eyes. However, at this moment, a figure descended from the sky and stumbled to the side of the blood coffin. He looked inside with a face full of despair. Big brother, listen to my explanation. Chapter 146. Big brother, let me explain. Looking at Little Shah's bloodshot eyes, Huhi quickly said. Say it. Little Shah clenched his fists tightly. Hidorigami made the first move. Right after you left, Hidorigami suddenly moved. Then, his body rose from the ground and crawled out of the hole. I wanted to suppress him at that time, but I was not strong enough. I could not do it, and I'm guessing that Hidorigami must have hidden his strength. He's not as weak as he thought, but he's been looking for an opportunity. Since Big Brother left just now, Hidorigami must have thought that he could escape. That's why he suddenly displayed his remaining strength. Huhi explained with a serious face. He even made a few appropriate movements with his body, as if he was telling the truth. Little Shah was stunned when he heard this. Then, he turned to look at the people from the Myth Guild in confusion. Mo Lingtian and the others saw this and quickly nodded. Really? Little Shah looked conflicted. It's fake. Hidorigami, who was lying on the ground, could not help but spit out 2 words. The situation suddenly became awkward. Big brother, do you believe Hidorigami who beat you up or me? Huhi asked angrily. The innocent Little Shah was now in a dilemma where he could not decide. After thinking for a moment, Little Shah looked up at Huhi. I believe you, you're my brother. Hearing this, Huhi let out a sigh of relief. Idiot. Hidorigami, who was lying on the ground, had nothing else to say. He could only sigh faintly. Did you see that, big brother? He's still scolding you. Huhi quickly fanned the flames. Hidorigami, you've done this to me. I'll fight you to the death. Little Shah immediately rushed toward Hidorigami angrily. At this time, Guyu, who was standing beside him, rushed toward Hidorigami at a faster speed. He raised his fist and hammered it. After a few punches, Guyu turned around and looked at Little Shah. Let me handle this kind of thing. After that, Guyu began to attack Hidorigami like crazy again. However, Hidorigami's body was extremely tough. Even though he was extremely weak now, Guyu's full attack did not even break Hidorigami's skin. Are you tired? Hidorigami asked softly. Tired my A**s. Guyu refused to believe it and immediately activated the evil body state. All of his attributes were greatly boosted in an instant. Then, he punched again. In the state of the evil body, Gu Yu's body was ignited with a blood-red flame, and a single horn slowly extended from his forehead. When Hidorigami and Little Shah saw this, their eyes widened. "Demonic god!" the two of them exclaimed. This was especially true for Hidorigami. Although he knew that he was very weak right now, he was actually not worried that he would die. He was a zombie and his main direction of cultivation was to focus on his physical body. With the strength of his physical body in the Ghost Emperor realm, he was confident that even Little Shah would not be able to break through the surface defense of his body. But now, his eyes were filled with terror. If there was anyone he was most afraid of in the land of Baiki, it would undoubtedly be the demonic god. This was because the demonic god was an existence that surpassed the Ghost Emperor realm. He was a true deity whose name was recorded in the underworld god list. The battle with the demonic god's doppelganger made Hidorigami realize that the power of a god, even a doppelganger, was like an insurmountable mountain. If not for the great emperor of the East Mountain restraining him, he believed that he would not have survived until now. Hence, when he saw the power of the demonic god again, Hidorigami was filled with the fear of death. Under the horrified gazes of Hidorigami and Little Shah, Gu Yu continued to smash with all his might. As time passed, Hidorigami's horrified expression gradually returned to normal. In the end, it turned into indifference. After 10 minutes of smashing, Gu Yu took a deep breath and stopped. "Are you tired?" Hidorigami asked again. Gu Yu wiped his sweat and felt that his body was completely drained. Hidorigami's strength was beyond his imagination. He had used all his strength, but he could not hurt Hidorigami at all. This made Gu Yu feel very tired. Standing up, Gu Yu turned to Little Shah and asked, "Is there any way to kill him?" "No." Little Shah's answer was decisive. "Then why did you say that you would fight him?" Gu Yu was stunned. "I was just saying. He is a powerhouse in the Ghost Emperor realm and he specializes in physical cultivation. I definitely can't break through his defense. At most, I can punch him a few times to vent my anger." Upon hearing this, Gu Yu's face fell. He then turned to look at Hu He. "What about you? You specialize in studying corpses. Do you have any ideas?" "Not now. We have to find a quiet place. The loose corpse powder on us is running out soon. Let's leave this place first. When the time comes, I will use the ancestral method to see if I can refine it," Hu He answered excitedly when he heard Gu Yu's question. He knew that he had a chance. Upon hearing this, Gu Yu felt helpless. It seemed that he had no other way other than this method, so he could only nod his head. Then, he waved his hand and said, "Everyone, please help me drag Hidorigami away." Beat, beat, beat. At this moment, Gu Yu suddenly realized that he had been pulled into a live chat channel. "Chunziu, Master Gu, please explain." Angry. "Yi Shuer, didn't you say you would send him back immediately?" "Lu Chai, the outside world is in an uproar. Where is Master Gu? We are waiting for your explanation." "Wu Gui, where is he? Where is he?" Gu Yu felt a headache when he heard everyone's questions. Then, he said, "Brothers, I'm really sorry. Brothers, I'm really sorry. I accidentally let this kid slip away. Who would have thought that he would be so shameless as to destroy the seal and bring disaster to Baiki? I'm responsible for this. I'll give my brothers an explanation. I'm chasing after him now, we'll talk later." Gu Yu exited the live chat channel as he spoke. Although he explained it in this way, Gu Yu knew that he would have to spend a large amount of soul coins to compensate the other guild. He felt a slight pain in his heart, but for the sake of his profession advancement, he had no choice but to continue. Not only the guild leaders of the major guilds, but the forum was also in an uproar. Crayon_Shinchan. Isn't this kid trapped in the safe zone? Can anyone explain the reason to me? Surely_the_strongest. It seems like Boss Chen knows the reason, but he won't tell me when I asked him. Sigh, it seems like something strange has happened. Watermelon_wolf. I, an ordinary player, have already fainted from crying in the toilet. These days are too hard. Please end the survival mode as soon as possible. Does anyone want to form a team to destroy the corpse pillars? Peppa_Boar. What are you guys afraid of? The outside world is filled with evil spirit. It's a good opportunity to farm points. Where are those who used to complain that there weren't enough monsters? It's time to get up and carry bricks. Crayon_Shinchan replied to Peppa_Boar. That makes sense. How can we, the 4th Calamity Legion, be afraid of these evil spirits? Someone, make arrangements for the evil spirit. Laughing emoji. Poverty_makes_me_trash. It's done. The extermination plan has officially started. Laughing emoji. Chapter 147. After the seal was completely broken, the invasion of the evil spirits entered a crazy stage. All the players who went out in small groups were either killed by the sudden arrival of the evil army or rushed back to the mansion of the dead after a difficult survival. This time, the difficulty of the survival mode suddenly increased, catching many players off guard. Now, Huhi's title of malignant tumor resounded throughout the entire server. He was even regarded by the players as a villain more terrifying than the Ghost King, becoming the public enemy of all players. However, the aggravation of the crisis also united the players once again. They began to gather in the safe zone of the Mansion of the Dead to discuss how to destroy the zombie energy pillars and resolve this survival crisis. After some discussion, the players finally decided to send out the million-strong Bakey army again. At this moment, the people from the Myth Guild, Huhi, and the others who destroyed the seal carried Hidorigami toward the cliffs of desperation. They had no choice but to come here this time. After they left the evil Nightmare City, they found a secluded place for Huhi to refine Hidorigami. At that time, Huhi was full of confidence. However, after trying countless methods, he completely lost hope. After his class was digitized, there was a refining progress bar when he refined corpses. Even when he was refining Cha-Na's head, the progress bar was slow, but at least he could still move forward. However, when he was refining Hidorigami, the progress bar was always 0%. Even if he used all the refining methods in the ancient books, he was still helpless when facing a Ghost Emperor realm powerhouse like Hidorigami. In the end, Huhi gave up completely when he could not even break through the defense. It was not that he did not think of collecting some medicinal herbs from the ancient books to help with refining, but this suggestion was rejected by Guyu. From Guyu's point of view, with Hidorigami's strong body and the current strength of the players, they would not be able to do anything to it. However, he knew a place. If they could bring Hidorigami there, it would not be a problem to break through Hidorigami's defense. Carrying Hidorigami's heavy corpse, everyone was exhausted. Along the way, Little Shah had to help them a few times. Otherwise, they really did not know how to carry Hidorigami up the mountain. Moreover, the journey was extremely thrilling. Guyu and the others saw spirits wandering all over the mountain. If it was not for the loose corpse powder, they would have been drowned by the spirits along the way. When they arrived at the mountainside, Guyu waved his hand, signaling everyone to take a rest. When everyone saw this, they immediately let go. Hidorigami's body fell heavily to the ground. Guyu glanced at the attribute panel and saw that his stamina was on red alert. He wiped off his sweat and took out some food from his personal space. Everyone, let's eat something. Our endurance has jumped to red. We still have a long way to go. Seeing this, everyone took out their food and began to rest and eat. Boss, there seems to be a wooden house over there. There seems to be someone there. The guild members exclaimed when they discovered the white-haired old man's wooden house. Guyu nodded. Of course, he was familiar with this place. Then, he walked toward the wooden house. Upon seeing this, Sun Chi immediately let go of Huhi's mouth and hurriedly followed. As he approached the wooden door, Guyu thought for a moment before he reached out his hand and gave it a pat. Old man, are you there? After a while, the wooden door slowly opened, revealing Old Bai's disgusted face. "Brat, you're so bored that you want to climb the mountain?" The veins on Gu Yu's forehead twitched. "I just wanted to say hello to you on the way." "Since you're done saying hello, can I close the door now?" Old Bai's sharp tongue made Gu Yu's teeth hurt. He really regretted knocking on the door for no reason. "Yo, isn't this Sun Chi? Why, do you want to have a duel with me again?" Old Bai noticed Sun Chi. "Come on, whoever gets drunk first is a dog." Sun Chi bared his teeth without showing any sign of weakness. Hearing this, Gu Yu glared at Sun Chi. "Why don't you have a drink?" Sun Chi heard this and immediately became speechless. He vaguely remembered that Gu Yu was very angry when he drank last time. Although Sun Chi wanted to drink another mouthful of Old Bai's wine, he had something important to do and could only give up. At this moment, a figure appeared in front of the door. He looked at Old Bai with a shocked expression. "I think I've seen you somewhere before." Little Shah looked at Old Bai in surprise. "Where?" Old Bai squinted his eyes. "I don't know. I can't remember, but my instinct tells me that I'm afraid of you." Little Shah raised his slightly trembling hand as he spoke. He looked like he was not lying to him. "Gu Yu, Sun Chi, can you guys be more normal? You're all acting like idiot. Did the evil spirit stuff zombie energy into your brains?" Old Bai looked at Little Shah, who was still trembling slightly, and looked like he was really afraid of him, as if he was looking at a lunatic. "They're really stupid." A faint sigh came from afar. Suddenly, everyone turned their heads and saw Hidorigami, who was lying on the ground, looking at them. As the crowd dispersed, Hidorigami also saw Old Bai's face clearly. Suddenly, his expression froze. "You slap." A crisp and loud sound was heard. Everyone was shocked to find that a red palm print had appeared on Hidorigami's face. The slap that appeared out of nowhere stunned Hidorigami. When he came back to his senses, he immediately looked angry. "You slap." The shadow of a palm that appeared out of nowhere appeared again, and slapped Hidorigami's head. At this moment, Old Bai's voice suddenly appeared in Hidorigami's mind. "Do you believe that I'll kill you right now if you speak nonsense again?" Hearing this, Hidorigami was angry, but he did not speak anymore because he knew that this old man really had the ability to kill him. This was because he was also in the Ghost Emperor realm like himself. Even if he was at his peak, he might not be able to defeat him. Seeing this scene, Gu Yu and the others were stunned. They did not know where the shadow of a palm that appeared out of nowhere came from. As they thought about it, everyone suddenly looked at the white-haired old man. The white-haired old man looked solemn. It seems to be the power of the demonic god. It seems that the seal of the demonic god is a little loose. Gu Yu was stunned and looked doubtful. Is it really the demonic god? It should be the demonic god. Otherwise, why would this power appear out of nowhere? When the white-haired old man said this, his face did not blush and his heart did not beat fast. This made Gu Yu uncertain. Although the shadow of a palm appeared when Hidorigami looked at the white-haired old man, it seemed that this weak old man did not have the ability to shake Hidorigami's body. "All right, don't disturb my sleep. It's full of evil spirits now. Be careful." As he spoke, the white-haired old man glanced at everyone and finally glared at Hidorigami. He then turned around and returned to the house, closing the door. After entering the house, a smile appeared on the white-haired old man's face. The evil spirits, Mu Zhiguang, and Hidorigami have all appeared. Why is it getting more and more lively? I hope to see a good show, hee hee. At this moment, Gu Yu and the others came to Hidorigami's side. Looking at the sullen Hidorigami, they asked, "Who hit you just now?" Hearing this, Hidorigami did not speak, but there was a hint of anger in his eyes. Seeing that he could not get anything out of him, Gu Yu did not say anything. He waved his hand and everyone went forward again. They lifted Hidorigami up and walked up the mountain. After walking around the mountain for about half an hour, an old voice suddenly appeared in everyone's mind. "Hidorigami! Hearing this voice, Hidorigami's eyes widened. How could he not be familiar with this voice? It was the voice of the demonic god that he was most afraid of. "Ha ha, how dare you come here, ha ha ha." His laughter was especially maniacal. "Boss demonic god, I've carried out the task that you gave me, but I couldn't kill him. I could only bring him to you," Guyu quickly said. "Good. I was right about you. Ha." Then, a cloud of black fog appeared under everyone's feet, and a strong sense of weightlessness appeared. The clouds and fog between the mountains flashed before their eyes, and everyone was carried by the black fog toward the peak of the mountain. This made Hidorigami think that he was in trouble. Although the demonic god was sealed, this was his territory after all, and he could more or less release some of his power. If he was really brought to the peak of the mountain, he would really be finished. Roar! Hidorigami's face turned red. He wanted to forcefully release the power of blood essence in his blood core. He wanted to break free from the black fog even if his blood core would break. However, just as his blood essence gushed out of his body, it was instantly extinguished by the black fog. "Hidorigami, stop struggling. Since you're already here, there's no way you can escape from my palm. After all, you're just a weak little worm." Hidorigami was not angry at being called a little worm by the demonic god. Instead, he was filled with deep fear. In the blink of an eye, everyone passed through the clouds and arrived at the peak of the mountain. The black fog also dissipated. At this moment, in front of the pillar pagoda at the peak of the mountain, a pair of crimson eyes surrounded by black fog was staring at Hidorigami. "Hidorigami! Hidorigami! Hidorigami!" Countless voices rang in everyone's mind. There were murmurs, roars, and all kinds of voices instantly evoked the negative emotions in everyone's heart. One by one, they fell to the ground with dull expressions. However, everyone could only feel the aftermath of the negative emotions. The main target of the negative emotions was Hidorigami, who was lying on the ground. At this moment, a sea of blood was raging in Hidorigami's mind. The laughter of a bloody boy kept echoing in his ears. He felt like a lonely sail in this sea of blood, and he could be overturned by the waves at any time. Fear grew and spread under the invasion of the demonic god's negative emotions. The fear in Hidorigami's heart was magnified. His face was filled with pain, and finally, he could not help but scream. "Ha ha, Hidorigami, look at your pitiful face. Where is the majesty that once controlled death? I remember you once told me that weakness is the original sin. But now you really look like a pitiful worm, ha ha ha." Sensing the fear in Hidorigami's heart, the demonic god laughed hysterically. He had waited for this moment for a very, very long time. It was so long that he almost thought that he would never have any hope of revenge in this lifetime. However, this moment was also the only thing that allowed him to endure after being sealed for so many years. Looking at Hidorigami, whose soul was trembling in fear, the demonic god had never felt so happy before. However, even the dissipating negative emotions were too much for the players to bear. Guyu hurriedly said, "Boss demonic god, withdraw your power. I can't take it anymore." The demonic god did not reply. Suddenly, he looked at Guyu with his crimson eyes and stared at him. At this moment, the negative emotions faded away, and everyone's expressions gradually returned to normal. However, there was still a trace of fear on their faces. At this moment, everyone felt like they had just survived a disaster. Among them, Little Shah had the worst reaction. This time, not only his hands were trembling, but his entire body was trembling. Seeing the most terrifying demon god in the land of Baki up close, he felt like his heart could not take it anymore. This time, he did not even have the strength to run away. He squatted on the ground and rubbed his face, looking like he was about to die from fear. However, when they heard Guyu call this person the demonic god, they could almost guess who the owner of the Crimson Eyes was. After all, they had seen the video of the battle between Hidorigami and the demonic god. However, other than Guyu and Sun Chi, The rest of them only knew the power displayed by the demonic god's clone. Boss demonic god, has the mission been completed? Yes, it has. After killing Hidorigami, I will give you the secret to the advancement of the blood seed. The demonic god's reply made Guyu happy. He knew that he could use this opportunity to become even more powerful. However, at this moment, a figure appeared beside Guyu in a cowardly manner and whispered, "Can you give me the corpse after killing him?" Everyone was speechless. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Hu-He, including the demonic god. Everyone was speechless towards this guy who was so obsessed with corpses. Are you the descendant of the zombie Forge Master? The demonic god glanced at Hu-He and knew his background. Hu-He scratched his head and laughed. Sure. Hu-He was ecstatic when he heard the demonic god's reply, but Guyu was stunned. He had seen part of the demonic god's memory, so he knew how much the demonic god hated Hidorigami. In his opinion, the demonic god would definitely cut Hidorigami into pieces. Why would he be willing to hand over Hidorigami's corpse to Hu-He? If he is refined into a zombie spirit, his body will not be able to rest in peace after death. Good idea. Good idea, it would be too easy for him to just kill him like this. What a surprising suggestion. The demonic god's reply made Guyu understand what the demonic god was thinking. He could not help but turn his gaze towards the excited Hu-He. If this brat really obtained Hidorigami's corpse, although he might not be able to do anything to it at this stage, Guyu could only imagine how terrifying this brat would become if he succeeded in refining it in the future. If a zombie spirit with an almost invincible body was born, who would be able to deal with him in the future? However, since the demonic god had agreed to it, and Hu-He was the scapegoat for this mission, Guyu naturally had no objections. He immediately said, "Then, demonic god, do it." The demonic god heard him and turned his gaze towards Hidorigami, who was still immersed in fear and pain. The peak of the mountain trembled slightly, and a blood-red flame appeared on Hidorigami's body, burning his flesh. This flame was extremely overbearing. Even if Hidorigami's body was at the Ghost Emperor realm, his skin and flesh were instantly torn apart. The blood that flowed from his body made the flame burn even more fiercely. Ah! Demonic god! The physical pain awakened Hidorigami's consciousness. He opened his crimson eyes and stared at the demonic god. Feel the gift that I've prepared for you. I've waited for this moment for a long time. I never thought that I would be able to give it to you personally. As the demonic god's words fell, a blood-red formation appeared below Hidorigami's body. A burning cross with iron chains hanging from it slowly emerged from the formation. Let me feel the fear that you feel before death, He. A few burning iron chains wrapped around Hidorigami as the demonic god's voice trailed off, binding him to the cross. The flames rose, and the shadow of the demonic god appeared behind the burning cross. Chapter 148. The demonic god had prepared this flame of vengeance for hundreds of thousands of years. At this moment, the flame rose and ignited Hidorigami's body. All sorts of negative emotions surged into Hidorigami's mind along with the dancing flames. He could not help but wail in agony. Wisps of soul threads that had been burned and shattered continuously emerged from his body. They then surged into the demonic god's shadow behind him. Guyu and the others looked at this scene in shock. What surprised them was that the flame did not hurt Hidorigami's body at all, and there was no heat wave. However, Hidorigami was getting weaker and weaker as the flame burned him. Soul ignition. Is this the power of the gods? Little Shah's face was filled with horror when he saw this. The flame grew stronger and Hidorigami could feel death approaching. At this moment, Hanba saw the scene of him leading the corpse demon army in an invincible manner amidst the rising and leaping flames. He could not help but laugh at himself. If he did not become a god, he would still be an ant. Even if people once respected him as a demonic god, Kacha. His soul was completely shattered at this moment. The demonic god who once wandered the underworld had fallen. I'll treasure your soul. I'll always look at your fear before you die. I don't think I'll be lonely anymore. The demonic god's shadow slowly faded away. The burning cross also shattered and turned into sparks. Thud. Hidorigami's body fell to the ground. Hidorigami had already lost all signs of life. He quickly grabbed one of Hidorigami's arms and kept it in his personal space. Little Gu, you did well. I promise you. At this moment, the pillar pagoda trembled and a force descended. The immense pressure made it difficult for everyone present to breathe, as if a mountain was pressing down on their heads. Pieces of information flowed into Gu Yu's mind. The artifact operated automatically. After converting all the information into data, it was displayed in the form of an analysis panel in Gu Yu's mind. Demonic God's Blood Body, First Stage Advancement. Class Introduction. Completed the demonic god's request and received an additional gift from the demonic god. First stage of class advancement completed. Blood Chi. Basic energy used to perform skills. After consumption, 2% will be recovered every minute. Can be consumed to speed up recovery. Class abilities. Demonic God's Blessing, Evil Body, Blood Combustion, Blood Absorption, Evil Gaze, Blood Growth, Blood Core. Demonic God's Blessing, Special Passive. The blessing of the demonic god from the underworld god list. Recovers 2 HP per second. Evil Body, Intermediate. After activating this ability, it consumes 35% of the user's HP and increases all attributes by 180%. Lasts for 30 minutes and can release derivative abilities. Blood Burning, First Stage. Summons Hellfire to burn a large area with the user as the center. The damage radius is 25 meters. This skill can only be used when the user is in the evil body state. Consumes 30% of the user's vitality. Blood Absorption, First Stage. Any blood within 10 to 30 meters of the user can be manipulated and absorbed into the user's body to recover health and health points. This skill can only be used in the evil body state and consumes 10% to 45% of health points. Evil Gaze. After activating the Evil Gaze, all the targets who look into the user's eyes will be eroded by negative emotions. There is a chance that the target will be confused and weak. This skill can only be used when the user is in the evil body state. Consumes 40% of the health points. Effect is affected by the target's willpower. Blood Growth, Golden Growth Skill. Every time you kill a high-level creature with abundant health points, you can randomly absorb 2 to 8 attribute points from the target. The higher the level of the blood core, the more attribute points can be absorbed. Blood Core LV1, 0%. Blood Magic Seed with unlimited potential. Can increase experience growth while absorbing health points through blood growth. Next advancement to LV5. Gu Yu was ecstatic when he saw the attribute panel and the advancement method. He knew that his hard work had not gone to waste. Apart from the improvement of the effects of his skills, he also clearly knew the subsequent advancement method of his class. Especially the Golden Growth skill, a blood growth, which could be used to kill monsters with health points. This gave Gu Yu the illusion that he was cheating. Demonic God Boss, where can I find a creature with health points? Gu Yu raised his head and asked excitedly. As long as you kill a powerhouse who is above the Ghost Commander level, you can absorb more or less health points. The best choice is to find a creature that specializes in health points, such as Hidorigami. After listening to the demonic god's explanation, Gu Yu nodded his head vigorously. Now that the evils had invaded and there were boss-level monsters everywhere, there were quite a number of Ghost Commander-level evils. Gu Yu could not wait to show off his skills. Alright Gu Yu, you helped me get my revenge. If you have any questions in your training, you can come to me. Now get lost. As he spoke, his burning red eyes slowly faded and went back into the pillar pagoda. Boss, did we make a profit or a loss this time? Sun Chi asked curiously. We made a huge profit. Gu Yu smiled. Sun Chi smiled when he heard the boss say that he made a profit. No matter what, he was the hero this time. It seemed like he would be rewarded handsomely. "Damn, boss, the malignant tumor has escaped," the guild members suddenly exclaimed. Guyu quickly turned his head and saw that Huhi's figure had already disappeared from where he was standing. F***ck. Guyu's good mood was instantly ruined. This brat. Guyu could already imagine the headache that would follow. However, this was not a safe zone, so it was not suitable to stay here. After thinking for a while, Guyu waved his hand. "Let's go down the mountain and return to the mansion of the dead. It's time to give them a good explanation." Sun Chi heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. Initially, he thought that Guyu would scold him, but apparently, Guyu was in a good mood. He was lucky enough to escape the fate of having his legs broken. The group then began to walk towards the foot of the cliffs of desperation under Guyu's lead. After Guyu and the others left, the white-haired old man appeared on the mountain peak. He strode to the pillar pagoda and reached out his hand to pat it. "How does it feel to have your revenge?" "Not bad." The demonic god's red eyes appeared again. "I can already feel that the hostility in your heart is fading. I think it won't be long before we can all be free." "I'm so happy." The white-haired old man stretched his back and laughed. "Aren't you afraid that I'll come out and kill you?" "If the hostility in your heart is gone, the mission that she gave me will be over. I'll naturally release you according to her instructions. As for whether you will kill me or not, we're already so close. Do you have the heart to do that?" the white-haired old man said as he patted the pillar pagoda with a sad expression. "That's your promise to her. What does it have to do with me? Since you're guarding the seal, you're naturally counted as the enemy who sealed me. I won't let you go if you put it that way. Get lost." The demonic god's voice appeared again. The white-haired old man chuckled and his figure faded away. About half an hour later, another figure appeared on the mountain peak. This person was Huhi, who had previously gone offline and escaped. The moment he appeared, he looked around nervously. After making sure that there was no one around, he could not help but laugh out loud. "As expected, I still managed to escape. As long as I refine hitorigami, there will be a time when all of you will admire me." Imagining the scene of him punching the Rock Ghost King and kicking the Sea King along with hitorigami in the future, Huhi's ego suddenly swelled up. After Huhi left the mountain, the demonic god's red eyes appeared again. This time, he stared in the direction that Huhi left in shock. How did he do it? Is it the power of reincarnation? Huhi carefully walked down the mountain, occasionally checking to see if Guyu and the others were lying in ambush. After spending a total of 6 hours, Huhi finally walked down the mountain. Looking at the lush forest in the distance, Huhi was all smiles. He felt like he had been reborn. From now on, I'll be the main character of the future, an invincible existence. Backstab. At this moment, a feminine voice came from behind and stabbed Huhi in the back while he was unprepared. The muscles on his back were pierced by a sharp dagger. Huhi turned his head in disbelief. Just as he thought, it was that cute female assassin again. "It's you again, pft." At this moment, Huhi felt a pain in his chest. "Big brother, you can't do this." Looking at the smiling assassin Murphy in front of him, Huhi felt like crying at the thought of falling into their hands again. "You're very valuable." Murphy's face was full of smiles. Weapon enhancement. Enhanced backstab. At this moment, the dagger in little Pomelo's hand was coated with a layer of silver light. -198 critical hit. Huhi's body slowly fell to the ground with a grief-stricken expression on his face. Life is always full of surprises. You have to get used to it. Little Pomelo took out a small notebook from her pocket. After flipping through a few pages, she selected a sentence that she had extracted and said coolly. His vision turned black and white. Just as he expected, after the 2 assassins killed him, they started taking screenshots and uploaded them to the forum. After exiting the game, Huhi quickly opened the forum. As expected, The assassin couple's post was being commented on by many players. However, when he saw the picture of him dying in despair that they uploaded to the forum, his heart was filled with resentment. Why didn't they turn on their beauty before taking another picture? Why? Another kill. Waiting for rewards. Also, accept an assassination mission. Efficiency is guaranteed. Crayon_Shinchan. 666. The malignant tumor was killed again. This time, we can't let him out of the safe zone. I'll give him a like. Reward, 0. 1 soul coin. Watermelon_Taro replied to Crayon_Shinchan, "You're so stingy." Crayon_Shinchan replied to Watermelon_Taro, "Angry_fall." JPG, Shueli_the_strongest. You're amazing. You did the first and second kills. Are you an assassin in real life as well? Laughing emoji. Reward, 10 soul coins. Invincible_loneliness. Guyu, this is fate, hahaha. Reward, 588 soul coins. Watermelon_Taro replied to Invincible_loneliness. Tycoon, please ride on my coattails. Instant coffee. Brother, do you accept the mission? I have an enemy. I'll give you 30 soul coins for each kill. Reward, 10 soul coins. Scorpion_Layla. I must protect him this time. I'm really scared now. When I'm hunting in the wild, I've been killed by evil spirits that descended from the sky twice in a row. Just thinking about it makes me want to cry, covering face. Reward, 20 soul coins. Poor_trash_chicken. You're amazing. I can't afford to offend you. Brother, for the sake of my soul coins, don't accept any missions that reward me. Reward, 30 soul coins. Looking at the increasing number of soul coins, little Pomelo smiled happily. Murphy, we're rich now. Yeah, I hope he can continue to escape. That way we can rely on your skills to continue tracking him and earn some money. Murphy said as he rubbed little Pomelo's head. Both of them looked at each other and laughed. Chapter 149. However, the player's attack was not over yet. Suddenly, countless water balls appeared in the sky and smashed into the middle of them. Once again, a large number of evil spirits were crushed. Seeing this, Wu Gui's expression changed. He quickly shouted in the live chat channel. Thinking of this, Wu Gui knew that he had to change his battle strategy. Otherwise, the players would not be able to defeat the evil ghost general who had the ability to recover. At this time, the total number of players in the live chat channel had reached a terrifying 2.3 million. The purpose of this collective expedition was to eliminate the zombie energy pillar closest to the mansion of the dead. Under Wu Gui's command, the army of players constantly adjusted their battle strategy. After clearing the evil spirits at the back, they once again focused on the main battle line. Now, they knew that destroying the zombie energy pillar was the only way to cut off the evil ghost general's source of recovery. Only then could they show their advantage again. At this time, the ground shook. Countless evil spirits immediately turned their heads toward the direction of the tremor. Seeing this, Wu Gui could not help but curse. This scene made the players very excited. At this time, a huge figure rushed out of the zombie energy pillar and ran toward the army of players. Recently, the players had been tortured by the evil spirit. It could be said that they had been suppressing their anger. When Wu Gui and the others were ready to gather their men for the expedition, they also responded to the call to show the evil spirits the power of the Baki army. At this time, the evil ghost general who was hiding in the zombie energy pillar let out an angry roar. Suddenly, the zombie energy pillar shook, and the densely packed evil spirits in the sky fell toward the back of the army of players like raindrop. Following Wu Gui's command, these soldiers rushed toward the evil spirits under the control of the sorcerers. Get into formation. Let's show these evils who the King real catastrophe is. The evil ghost general could only hold on for a few minutes before it was defeated again. Faced with the evil ghost general who ran back to the zombie energy pillar to recover after a few minutes, the players were extremely frustrated. They felt that it was too shameless. Soon, the densely packed figures of the players appeared in their line of sight. A crimson energy wave suddenly rose up like a huge wave, hitting the evil spirits at the front and sending them flying. I feel like we have to get rid of the zombie energy pillar first. Otherwise, there will be endless monsters. Moreover, this evil ghost general will recover very soon if we can't kill it instantly. Seeing that the evil spirits that filled the mountains and plains had begun to surge madly towards them, Wu Guo raised the huge sword in his hand. However, before the players could rejoice for more than a few seconds, the evil ghost general leaped out of the zombie energy pillar again and lunged at them. F***CK. At this moment, this expert's tactics were proven in real combat. Then, the mages stepped forward and began to summon the Een soldiers. In an instant, a dense army of Een soldiers crawled out of the soil like mushrooms after the rain, forming a defensive line of bone soldiers in front of the army of players. Suddenly, a dense barrage of skills surged towards the evil ghost general. Countless streams of energy enveloped the evil ghost general, transforming him into a figure of light. Countless guardian deities blocked the incoming fiends outside the line of defense, preventing them from advancing. The players immediately seized this opportunity to push the evil spirits back towards the zombie energy pillar. Roar! As the players watched in bewilderment, countless demons fell from the top of the other two zombie energy pillars, and two more malevolent ghost generals appeared from the zombie energy pillars. However, at this moment, two black meteors streaked across the sky and landed beside the zombie energy pillars. Then, two more columns of black smoke rose into the sky, forming a zombie energy pillar that reached the sky. Following Wu Gui's command, shadows appeared above the mahogany hut, and the players retreated at the same time. Everyone, prepare for the second battle strategy, building battle. The warriors who received the command immediately retreated. Kill! The battle line collapsed in an instant, and countless evil spirits roared as they pounced forward. Baiki, the outskirts of the Ghost Mountains. While the players were discussing among themselves, they once again threw all their skills at the evil ghost general. However, the guardian deities launched their attack at this moment. Huge energy balls were thrown out one after another, sending all the evil spirits flying away. The warrior players at the back quickly followed behind the skeleton soldiers and ghost soldiers. The guardian deities summoned by the mahogany hut had the power to restrain evil spirits. At the same time, the mahogany hut also had high durability against evil spirit. With the guardian deities as the line of defense, coupled with the damage output of the players at the back, they would definitely be able to unleash a powerful attack. The moment the evil ghost general appeared, the defensive line formed by the warrior players was torn open, and a large number of players died. Roar! The players roared in unison. Report, report, his HP recovery is too strong. Warriors, retreat to the back of the hut and summon your mahogany hut. This was especially true for the new players who were participating in a large-scale battle for the first time. They had only seen the battle videos of the Baiki army in videos, but it was their first time actually participating in one. 3 early-stage ghost generals and a similarly large evil army made Wu Gui feel that it was very troublesome. Their strategy was to take them down one by one, but it seemed like the evil spirits did not play according to plan, and they were caught off guard. This was the trump card of the players to fight against the evil spirits, building battle. The battle broke out. The moment they collided, a large number of the skeleton soldiers at the front who were used as cannon fodder fell to the ground. However, the warriors at the back who had been waiting for a long time immediately rushed forward and swung an earth-shattering slash at the same time under Wu Gui's command. Even the ghost General Cha-Na, who was at the peak of his strength, had fallen in their hands, so they had nothing to fear from a beginner ghost general evil spirit. Seeing that their side had gained the upper hand in the battle, the players were very excited. What the F***CK? I reported him for his HP recovery. Did he just go in and take 2 breaths to recover? However, the players did not panic. After gathering together, they rushed forward again. After seeing the zombie energy pillar, the players stopped moving forward after hearing Wu Gui's command. Summon the door god. Hearing Wu Gui's command, the warrior players rushed forward again. Meanwhile, the sorcerers and assassins all stopped attacking and began to take out mahogany huts from their channel and threw them on the ground. Instantly, many mahogany huts appeared behind them. Boom! Faced with the concentrated attack of the evil spirits, the sorcerers quickly began to dodge. Some of the 5 elements warlocks saw that they could not dodge, so they directly activated their golden form. Meanwhile, the assassins followed the command and began to rush to the back. The evil disaster and the 4th disaster had begun their first large-scale battle. Everyone, watch out! The Ghost General boss is coming. Hold on! Under such an attack, the evil Ghost General could only hold on for less than 5 minutes before it jumped out of the crowd and returned to the zombie energy pillar. This plan was suggested by an expert player in the forum when they were discussing how to fight against the evil spirit. After the evil Ghost General was forced back to the zombie energy pillar again, the evil Ghost General did not rush to attack. Instead, it hid in the zombie energy pillar and began to roar at the sky. Meanwhile, the warrior players who were retreating immediately began to summon mahogany huts, continuously expanding the defensive line of the buildings. What surprised the players was that the wounds on the evil Ghost General's body had all been healed. Brothers, attack according to the plan we've decided on earlier. Warriors in the front, assassins in the back to kill the evil spirits, sorcerers in the back, and sorcerers in the back to attack with firepower. As for the other special classes, look for the corresponding classes. Under the towering corpse chi pillar, the entire mountain was filled with evil figures, and inside the corpse chi pillar, an evil Ghost General was raising its head to breathe in the corpse chi, constantly absorbing energy from it. Assassins, retreat and clear the evil spirit. Sorcerers, take care of yourselves. Chapter 150. The defense line formed by the door gods was extremely sturdy, and they repelled the evil spirits again and again. The players cheered as they witnessed the scene. Brothers, upgrade the door gods if you have soul coins. We're counting on the door gods in this battle. As soon as Wu Gui finished speaking, the white light on the front line kept flashing. Countless door gods had leveled up, and their bodies expanded and solidified. Use all your soul coins to level up. Brothers, don't hesitate, let's do it. We're done. All hail the door gods. It's time to show off the strength of the Baki army. Level up. Level up. Activate pay-to-win mode. Pay-to-win, give me power, pay-to-win. Can anyone lend me some soul coins? I need 10 more to level up. I need support. A large number of players chose to upgrade the door gods, and the white light kept flashing. After leveling up, the door gods had become even stronger. Some players had even accidentally nurtured the door gods' special abilities. With their increased strength, the door gods were able to repel a wave of evil spirit. Follow the strategy. Players at the back, keep the houses and build them forward. Push forward step by step. As soon as Wu Gui finished speaking, the players at the back decisively kept their mahogany houses and ran to the front to summon them again. Relying on the power of the door gods, the players began to push forward again. However, the evil spirits could not break through the defense line of the door gods and were forced to retreat. While the door gods resisted the evil spirits, the sorcerers had a safe zone to attack again. Suddenly, magic cannons were formed, and the overall firepower was increased. Seeing this, the evil ghost generals could no longer sit still. They dashed out of the zombie energy pillar and pounced toward the defense line formed by the door god. However, before they could land, they were locked on by the door gods. All kinds of energy bullets shot at them, knocking them back instantly. Go back and recover. Seeing this scene, the players laughed out loud. At this moment, the players were secretly delighted. They felt so comfortable hiding behind the door gods and losing safely. Moreover, they could obtain soul coins and experience points from the evil spirits killed by the door gods. It was as if they had activated the AFK mode. Every time a wave of evil spirits was repelled, the players would push forward a section of the building, and the front line was getting closer to the zombie energy pillar. At this moment, the players seemed to see the dawn of victory. The advantages and disadvantages of the two calamities gradually increased. One side had the ability to recover and create cheats, while the other side had the door god cheats with absolute defense and attack. In the battle between the two catastrophes, the players had a huge advantage. Lu Wu, who was observing the scene, was also surprised by the players' imagination. Lu Wu could not believe that they could still fight in such a way. The way they pushed forward with the flow of buildings had refreshed his worldview. It also strengthened his belief that players who developed freely had unlimited potential. The evil ghost general roared and charged forward several times, but it still couldn't break through the door god's defense. Under such circumstances, the three malevolent ghost generals suddenly stopped their attacks and began to howl within the corpse chi pillar. "Brothers, pay attention, they are calling for backup again." Wu Gui saw the situation and hurriedly reminded. Just as everyone expected, a few moments later, black meteors fell from the sky, crashing into the surroundings of the player camp. Then, corpse energy rose into the sky again. This time, there were a total of 12 corpse energy pillars. The players who saw this scene were stunned. What happened to defeating them one by one? How could it be played this way? Initially, the players thought that they were ruthless enough with their resurrection and tools. However, the evil army repeatedly called for backup from afar and even created a blood pool and evil creation point. The players suddenly felt that the evil army was even more shameless than them. This time, the evil army suddenly increased. As the commander, Wu Gui quickly ran from the back to the center of the players' line of defense. Then, he shouted, "Form a circular defense line, we are surrounded." Upon hearing this, the players quickly retracted their defense line, leaving the mahogany huts outside. They formed a circular defense line to resist the sudden increase in the number of evil army. At this moment, the sudden increase in the number of evil army once again broke the players' advantage. It became very difficult to resist. From time to time, some of the mahogany huts would be destroyed. The players could only rely on soul coins to repair them and put them back into use. Once again, the advantage turned into a slight disadvantage. However, the players were not discouraged. They treated it as a money-making mission. Within the circular defense line, they began to throw out skills to earn soul coins. However, at this stage of the game, ordinary evil spirits weren't strong enough to break through the defensive line. Meanwhile, if the 12 evil ghost generals dared to attack, the players within the defensive line would focus their attacks on them, repelling the 12 evil ghost generals and making them truly invulnerable. Note: the evil ghost general is at the early stage of ghost general. There is still a huge gap between him and Cha-Cha, who is about to break through to the Ghost King level. Soul coins became the key in this battle. The soul coins gained from killing the evil spirits were all used by the players to upgrade the door gods or repair the mahogany houses. The battle had entered a stalemate. An hour later. "I've leveled up twice. This is so exciting. Is this considered grinding monsters? My door god has already leveled up twice. This is so exciting. I hope this corpse energy pillar can give birth to endless evil. If we keep this up, there's hope for us to break through level 100. I feel inexplicably gratified. Little evil, don't fall down. Continue to charge forward like a fool. Good luck, evil. Brothers, let's focus on leveling up the door god first. The stronger the door god, the faster you can kill monsters. Naturally, you'll get more experience and soul coins. That makes sense. Let's level up the door gods first." At this moment, I'm inexplicably envious of the mages. They can still fight with the door gods to gain experience. We warriors only have 2 long-range attack skills at this stage. There's no way we can get out of here. I've said it before. The mages are the real sons of this game. They're the best. Didn't you guys notice that apart from a few high-level players, the rest of the rankings are occupied by the mages? It's not an exaggeration to say that the mages are the best. They're only good at killing monsters. Warriors are still the best in one-on-one battles. No need to explain. No. That's because you guys haven't seen the cursed apostle who has mastered the Prajna sacrificial. He's the most invincible existence at this stage. Apart from attacking when the evil ghost general attacked, the players spent the rest of the time chatting within the defense line. In the end, they began to compare the advantages and disadvantages of each class. Lu Wu did not know whether to laugh or cry at this scene. However, he had to admit that the number of soul coins in his artifact was constantly increasing. Lu Wu received a commission from the players' killing of the evil, leveling up the door gods, and repairing the mahogany hut. This made Lu Wu feel extremely gratified. He felt that there was finally hope for the resurrection of His Excellency Tsangshu. With this growth, Lu Wu suddenly hoped that the corpse energy pillar could give birth to endless evil. This way, the players would be happy, and he would be even happier. Chapter 151. The battle went on for the 3rd hour and the situation was still in a stalemate. The evil spirits could not break out of the encirclement and the players could not advance. They could only exhaust each other. The zombie energy pillars did not disappoint the players. New evil spirits were continuously created to join the battle, allowing the players to enjoy the thrill of leveling up. Just when the players thought that the situation would continue until they went offline, trees fell continuously on the west side of the Ghost Mountains and huge figures emerged. The figures of tree demons, ancient tree demons, and enchanted trees kept appearing. At the same time, a huge figure crashed down from the sky. The moment it landed, a large number of evil spirits were suppressed under its body. Damn, the rock ghost army is here! What is it doing here? Is it a friend or foe? Please don't let it be an enemy. It's fine to resist the evil spirits but not the rock ghost king. Wait and see, don't act rashly. While the players were discussing, the tree demon army surged from the west towards the evil army and attacked the zombie energy pillars from the side. Roar. Accompanied by the rock ghost king's roar, the wood domain extended and expanded. All the evil spirits shrouded in the domain were swept up by the vines and strangled in the air. The appearance of the rock ghost king immediately startled the evil spirit general that was closest to him. It immediately leaped out of the zombie energy pillar and pounced towards the rock ghost king. However, this time, it no longer had the chance to replenish its blood when facing the rock ghost king who was in the middle stage of the ghost king realm. Dark green vines instantly sprang up from the ground and entangled the evil spirit general in the air. Accompanied by the rock ghost king's roar, the vines tightened their grip on the malevolent ghost general. The vines shone faintly with a dark green light. The malevolent ghost general did not last long before it was torn apart by the vines in the air and fell to the ground in pieces. The rock ghost king demonstrated to the players the terrifying dominance of a ghost king realm powerhouse. Even the evil spirits of the ghost general realm were no match for him. Below, the battle line formed by the ancient tree demons was like a bulldozer that pushed forward madly. The evil spirits had a hard time resisting and were obviously suppressed in terms of strength. Under the attack of the tree demon army, the evil spirits were defeated. Coupled with the attack from the door gods on the other side, the rate of evil spirits being born from the 12 zombie energy pillars could not keep up with the rate of evil spirits dying. Seeing this scene, the players were all stunned. They did not expect the rock ghost king to help them. This made them very confused, and they did not know what was going on. After clearing the evil spirits around him, the rock ghost king glanced at the players' camp and locked his gaze on Wu Guori. Since this king is here to help, why aren't you attacking together? Hearing this, Wu Guoyi and the players felt a headache. In fact, they hadn't killed enough monsters yet. Although the Rock Ghost King was being kind, they were reluctant to do so. After all, it was not easy to have such a perfect opportunity to farm monsters. However, since the balance had been broken, they probably could not continue farming anymore. Wu Guoyi immediately shouted in the live chat channel. All warriors, charge! Break out of the encirclement! Kill! Following Wu Guoyi's order to attack, the warriors and assassins began to rush out of the door god's defense line and attack the fiends. On the other hand, the mages were still holed up in the defensive line, using long-range attacks to support the front line in breaking through. Under the attack of the players and the tree demons, the advantage of the evil army was gone. Even if the 12 zombie energy pillars were constantly producing evil spirits, they could not resist the joint attack of the two armies. Seeing that the players had begun to attack together, a trace of relief flashed in the Rock Ghost King's eyes. In fact, he had thought carefully before leading the army to attack. Due to the existence of the zombie energy pillar in the Ghost Mountains, his North Rocks was often invaded by evil spirits, which made him feel extremely distressed. After experiencing the evil invasion 40,000 years ago, he knew that as long as one of the zombie energy pillars was attacked, the other zombie energy pillars would also sense it and come to help. If he really wanted to attack the zombie energy pillar in the Ghost Mountains, he would have to pay a heavy price even if he won in the end. This was absolutely unacceptable to him. If the tree demon army suffered a heavy loss, he could imagine that the new force that had been eyeing the North Rocks covetously in the Mansion of the Dead would never let them go. However, what he did not expect was that the new force of the Mansion of the Dead would take the initiative to attack the zombie energy pillars. This made the Rock Ghost King extremely excited. He immediately led the army and laid in ambush in the distance. Meanwhile, he had been paying close attention to the battle, hoping to reap the benefits at the end. However, the situation of the battle was beyond the Rock Ghost King's imagination. Initially, he thought that this battle would cause the new force to suffer a heavy loss. After all, in the face of endless creatures like the evil spirits, unless they could crush and destroy the zombie energy pillars, fighting a war of attrition would undoubtedly be courting death. However, after paying attention to the battle between the players and the evil spirits for nearly 4 hours, the Rock Ghost King was shocked to find that the two forces were in a stalemate. Even the biggest advantage of the evil spirits was suppressed by the players. From the looks of it, this battle would never end. While the Rock Ghost King was stunned, he had a new idea, which was to make friends with this new force and take the initiative to eradicate the evil spirits. After all, these new forces were creatures with the ability to think. Unlike the evil spirits who only had fighting and bloodthirsty instincts, there was still room for negotiation. Another important reason was that if these players were really wiped out by the evil spirits, then the North Rocks, which was the closest to the Ghost Mountains, would face the invasion of the evil spirits born from the 12 zombie energy pillars. That was equivalent to an all-out war with the evil spirit. By that time, even if he won, nearly half of the tree demon army under his command would be lost. Therefore, after much consideration, the Rock Ghost King finally decided to lead the army to take the initiative to help the players remove all the zombie energy pillars and end the evil invasion disaster. However, what he did not know was that the players did not appreciate his kindness at all. They even began to grumble in the live chat channel. Don't think that I won't cut down trees in the future just because you helped me. That's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not easy to get a leveling spot, but it's ruined. I feel inexplicably indignant. Help is help, but we still have to cut down trees. After all, we haven't gotten the money to maintain the boat. That's a different matter. We're not unreasonable people. From now on, we'll cut down one less tree every day to show the Rock Ghost King some respect. Yeah, cut down one less tree every day to repay the Rock Ghost King for his support. You're all so shameless, but I agree. Looking at the players' discussions in the live chat channel, Lu Wu broke out in cold sweat. He felt that if the Rock Ghost King knew what the players were thinking, he would probably help the evil army to eliminate the players first. Chapter 152. After the Rock Ghost King led his army to help, the battle turned into a one-sided victory. The players also pushed the mahogany huts forward. The battle lasted until the 6th hour. Apart from the evil ghost generals hiding in the zombie energy pillars, the surrounding evil spirits were all killed. However, the battle was not over yet. At that moment, the Rock Ghost King was madly slamming his huge body against one of the 12 zombie energy pillars. The zombie energy pillar was very hard. Even the Rock Ghost King's strength could not destroy it in a short time. The players and the Tree Demon army surrounded the 12 zombie energy pillars and helped to clean up the newly born evil spirit. This was also what the Rock Ghost King was worried about. At the stage where he focused on attacking the zombie energy pillars, the strength of his camp would undoubtedly suffer a great loss in fighting against the evil spirit. Fortunately, the players were present this time to share the burden of clearing the 8 zombie energy pillars. The Rock Ghost King's Tree Demon army only needed to guard 4 of the zombie energy pillars while the evil spirits respawned. The pressure on the Rock Ghost King was greatly reduced, allowing him to focus on destroying the zombie energy pillars. Under the impact of the Rock Ghost King, the zombie energy pillar finally cracked. Break! The Rock Ghost King's 100-meter-tall body rose from the ground and slammed into the zombie energy pillar that was already full of cracks. Boom! The zombie energy pillar that reached the sky cracked and thick zombie energy dissipated. At this moment, a black bead floated up from the thick fog and shot towards the horizon. However, the Rock Ghost King did not stop it. Instead, he turned around and slammed into the second zombie energy pillar. The players were a little surprised. They did not know why the Rock Ghost King would let go of the bead that produced zombie energy. However, they did not have a flying profession, so naturally they could not stop it. They could only watch as the bead that might be a treasure flew away. While the Rock Ghost King destroyed the second zombie energy pillar, the players were very relaxed. The mahogany huts were piled up beside the zombie energy pillar that they were guarding. As soon as new evil spirits were born, the door god would take the initiative to destroy them without them having to do anything. The players only had to focus on throwing skills at the zombie energy pillar. However, the zombie energy pillar was very hard. The players' attacks did not cause a single crack on the zombie energy pillar. Instead, the evil ghost generals inside would jump out and attack them from time to time. However, they were easily repelled every time. Suddenly, the players were reluctant to destroy the corpse energy pillar after experiencing the feeling of camping and grinding monsters. However, it was just a thought. After all, the existence of evil spirits had completely destroyed the balance of Bakey. Even if all the zombie energy pillars collapsed, the land of Bakey was still full of evil spirits at this stage. It would take a long time to clean up all of them. Boom! At this time, the second pillar of corpse chi shattered, and as the corpse chi filled the air, the black bead once again soared into the sky. The third one, the 4th chapter, just as Rock was about to destroy the last corpse energy pillar, Wu Gui suddenly spoke. Rock Ghost King, why don't you keep this one? The Rock Ghost King suddenly stopped pounding and turned his head to look at him. Why? Its existence can alleviate. Wu Gui wanted to say that the zombie energy pillars could reduce the frequency of players going to the North Rocks to cut down trees, but halfway through his sentence, he suddenly felt that it was too straightforward, so he coughed. It can help relieve our energy? What do you mean? The Rock Ghost King seemed very puzzled. This gave Wu Gui a headache, and he did not know how to answer. He was afraid that if he said it too straightforwardly, the Rock Ghost King would be so angry that he would destroy them on the spot. Sure, the Rock Ghost King suddenly said. This stunned Wu Gui. He did not understand why the Rock Ghost King was so easy to talk to. But you have to promise me that you will never invade the North Rocks in the future. At the same time, in return, I will recognize the position of the new force in Bakey. That's not possible. We can skip the food, but how can we not cut down trees? That's right, that's right. Cutting down trees is a shortcut to get rich. Haven't you heard that cutting off one's source of wealth is like killing one's parents? Rock Ghost King, this is your fault. Cutting down trees and keeping the zombie energy pillars are two different things. You can't raise a boat without trees. At most, we'll cut down 1 tree a day. It's impossible not to cut down trees even if you say no. We can only maintain the boat by cutting down trees. There was a lot of discussion below. The branches around the Rock Ghost King were dancing, and his eyes were shining. Seeing this, Wu Gui immediately shouted in the live chat channel, "Stop it, the Rock Ghost King is angry. Don't say it out loud even if you want to cut down trees. Next time, go secretly. Promise him first." Suddenly, there was a dead silence below. Then, Wu Gui looked at the Rock Ghost King solemnly and said, "Okay, I promise you." The waving branches slowly retracted. The anger in the Rock Ghost King's eyes faded, and he stared at Wu Gui. "I hope you can keep your promise." Wu Gui nodded awkwardly. In fact, he was only the temporary commander of this battle. When the battle was over, he would not have the ability to restrain these players. His promise did not represent the commitment of all the players. Moreover, cutting down trees was the only way for ordinary players to raise a boat at this stage. It was unrealistic to stop cutting down trees. Keeping this zombie energy pillar could at least reduce the frequency of players forming groups to cut down trees in the North Rock. It was considered a good thing for the North Rock. After taking another look at Wu Gui, the Rock Ghost King's huge body floated into the air and headed toward the North Rock. The tree demon army below him immediately retreated like a tide. Seeing this, the players also put away their mahogany huts and scattered in all directions, ready to let this zombie energy pillar take a breather for a while. In fact, they did not leave this zombie energy pillar undestroyed. After all, the main mission of this new expansion pack was to destroy all the zombie energy pillars in order to complete the mission. The most important reason for keeping this zombie energy pillar was to create an endless supply of evil spirits so that the players would not run out of monsters to kill. Although there were millions of players at this stage, most of them were new players. Their overall strength could not expand outward at all. Moreover, there were only a few areas within Bakey where players could kill monsters and level up. Players could only sneak into a place like the North Rocks, which was guarded by a Ghost King. There was no way they could confront him head-on. Therefore, keeping this zombie energy pillar was to let the players rely on the power of evil to develop and grow stronger. In Wu Gui's opinion, it was very necessary. Of course, this was not his decision alone. It was a decision made by the presidents of several major guilds after a discussion. After all, only when the overall strength of the players was strong could their hunting range expand accordingly. In the evil Nightmare City, Little Shaw reached out and caught the 11th orb that fell from the sky. After stuffing it into the Een Soul Eye and sealing it, he sat in the coffin and rested his chin on his hand as he waited. Half a day had passed. Little Shaw looked at the sky in a daze. "Did I get lost?"